The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The government to back the shift on global tax rules. The Bahamas votes to move the decision-making to the UN. The FNM says that former Prime Minister Minnis had no interest in campaigning for the party in the previous by-election, the just passed by-election. And in our interview this morning, we are talking with an historian, a local historian, who's going to be speaking in Ghana on tradition, connection, innovation, and decolonization. We'll talk about that with him this morning. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, November 27th, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Also this morning in business, we are going to be talking with Maison Bahamas about the Windsor Lakes community and opportunities that are presenting themselves there. We'll tell you all about it. That's all straight ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the Bahamas has voted in support of a United Nations resolution that would shift decision-making on global tax policies and rules away from heavy-handed global bodies like the European Union and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, and move it toward the Intergovernmental Organization, the UN. Earlier this month, 125 UN member nations voted in support of the United Nations resolution on the promotion of inclusive and effective international tax cooperation. The United States, United Kingdom, and all EU member countries were among the 48 that voted against the resolution. 9 nations abstained. The Office of the Prime Minister saying in a statement that the United Nations decision to endorse a more inclusive tax governance framework marks a profound advancement for global economic and tax policy, a cause the Bahamas has long championed. The statement said the development closely reflects our comprehensive report to the UN Secretary General advocating for a fair tax system that embraces the diverse fiscal landscapes of all nations and particularly supports the economic realities of developing countries. FNM Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands says that while the party invited former leader and Prime Minister Dr. Minnis to join its campaign to win West Grand Bahama and Bimini, he decided not to. The party's candidate, Bishop Ricardo Grant, lost to the PLP's Kingsley Smith in last Wednesday's vote. While the FNM brought out former leaders Hubert Ingram and Tommy Turnquest, Minnis was noticeably absent on the rally stage and the ground, asked if Minnis was invited to take part in the campaign, Sands saying, quote, he was. People make the choices they make for the reasons that they make them. When asked if Minnis explained why he would not join the campaign, Sands said no, he didn't. When asked his thoughts on the party's loss, Minnis told the Nassau Guardian yesterday that he had no comment and referred the paper to Sands or FNM leader Michael Pintard. Though the party suffered a brutal defeat, Sands said it is stronger than ever and will remain a force to be reckoned with. Police investigating the country's latest murder. A man was shot and killed inside his car on Saturday. The 37-year-old was parked near a bar on West Bay Street around 12 a.m. Police say a gunman shot him and fled the scene. Police asking for anyone with information to contact them. A woman sexually assaulted at a home off Shirley Street. This happened on Saturday morning. Police say the 25-year-old was woken up around 5 a.m. by a man known to her. He then sexually assaulted her. Police say they're following significant leads in the matter. A woman accused of engaging in an illicit sexual relationship with a young boy denied the allegations at her arraignment. This was on Friday. 36-year-old Raquel Williamson pleaded not guilty to charges of unlawful sexual intercourse and indecent assault when she was arraigned before Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson. Prosecutors alleged that Williamson had sex with the 13-year-old boy on May 26th. She's further accused of indecent assault between April 23rd and May 6th. Williamson is free on $5,000 bail. Her trial is scheduled to be heard before Grant Thompson next year. A man accused of a 2019 murder granted $9,900 bail. Curry Dufresne was remanded to prison on October 28, 2019 after he was charged with the murder of Lynette Dumel. Prosecutors say Dumel was fatally shot at Excellence Estates on October 12th. Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson imposed strict conditions for the accused killer's release. He has to sign in daily at a police station, keep a curfew, and wear an ankle bracelet. Dufresne, who is represented by Troy Kelman, is required to surrender to police custody on the date of his trial. He remains in custody because his bail hasn't yet been signed. Meanwhile, a man accused of killing his neighbor during an argument and shooting another man has pleaded not guilty. Edward Wilkinson, also known as Punky, is accused of fatally shooting Leonard Hepburn at Dunmore Street on April 9th. Wilkinson is also accused of the attempted murder of Jeffrey Hepburn and possession of a 9mm pistol and 2 unfired rounds of ammunition. Wilkinson pleaded not guilty to the charges when he appeared before Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson for arraignment. His matter was transferred to Justice Gregory Hilton for trial. He's expected to receive his trial date on December 7th. And the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention will visit the Bahamas to assess the situation of detention in the country. The experts will visit places of deprivation of liberty, according to a statement from the UN, including prisons, police stations, and institutions for children, migrants, and people with psychosocial disabilities. The delegation will visit from November 27th through December 8th. The group will meet with government officials, civil society groups, and other relevant actors during the visit. Overseas, Israel and Hamas appearing open to extending a ceasefire in Gaza that has halted their deadliest and most destructive war, but is set to expire after today, Monday, with a fourth exchange of militant-held hostages for Palestinians imprisoned by Israel planned for later in the day. Israel said it would extend the ceasefire by 1 day for every 10 additional hostages released. Hamas has also said it hopes to extend the 4-day truce, which came into effect Friday after several weeks of indirect negotiations mediated by the United States, Qatar, and Egypt. But Israel also says it remains committed to crushing Hamas's military capabilities and ending its 16-year rule over Gaza after its October 7th attack into southern Israel. That would mean expanding a ground offensive from devastated northern Gaza to the south, where hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have crammed into United Nations shelters, and where dire conditions persist despite the increased delivery of aid under the truce. 2 Egyptian officials said talks are aimed at extending the ceasefire for another 4 days, with one saying that both sides have agreed in principle, but that official added that violence in the occupied West Bank is complicating matters, with Hamas demanding an end to Israeli military raids. Hundreds of Palestinians have been arrested and scores killed in clashes with Israeli forces since the war began. And less than 48 hours into his term, Ecuador's president, Daniel Noboa, repealing controversial guidelines established by the country's left a decade ago that eliminated penalties for people found carrying illegal drugs under certain amounts. Noboa's decision fulfilled the campaign promise to fight drug trafficking. Consequences of the illegal trade, particularly cocaine, have kept Ecuadorians on edge as killings, kidnappings, robberies, extortion, and other crimes reached unprecedented levels. A statement from Noboa's office announcing the move argued that the old guidelines encouraged micro-trafficking and characterized them as harmful elements for Ecuadorian society. Noboa also directed the Ministries of Interior and Public Health to develop coordinated information, prevention, and control programs on the consumption of narcotic and psychotropic substances and to offer treatment and rehabilitation to habitual and problematic occasional users. In sports, the BFA, the Bahamas Football Association Men's League, continuing with a four-game slated. The Orozco A.L. Davies Soccer Field, the University of the Bahamas Mingos, taking down the Cavalier FC 10-1, while the Baja Juniors came back and tied 17 FC 3-3. Read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. Several Bahamians were in action over the weekend of the NCAA Division I basketball season. That's in its early season tournaments and invitationals. Freshman Danica Lightburn and her Dayton University Flyers winning their third straight game to have a perfect 2-0 win-loss record. They were in action at the Daytona Beach Invitational. Lightburn was coming off a scoreless game to finish with 11 points against Wichita State University, where she bounced back to score a collegiate career-high 9 points, going 4 for 6 from the field and making her only shot attempt from deep. She played 16 minutes and was able to grab 6 points and dished out 1 assist. Richard Lowe was a force in the paint as he came away with 21 points on 8 for 12 shooting from the field and 11 rebounds for his Northwood University Timberwolves. It was not enough, though, as they lost 94-67 to Purdue Northwest University in Michigan. Lowe was busy early when he got 2 quick offensive boards and 4 points in the first 4 minutes of the game. However, the Pack kept that low and took an 11-point lead when they went up 31-20 with 5 minutes and 47 seconds left in the first half. Read more about how the Bahamians are doing in today's Guardian Sports section. And the Villanova University Wildcats claiming their third Battle for Atlantis title with a dominant 79-63 victory over the University of Memphis Tigers right here in the Bahamas at the Imperial Arena at Atlantis Paradise Island. At the close of Battle for Atlantis on Friday, the Wildcats did a lot of their damage in the first half of the game when they played some stifling defense and held the Tigers to just 18 points. They finished with a balanced scoring attack with all 5 starters scoring in double digits, led by T.J. Bamba with 13 points. From the NFL, Jalen Hurts running for the winning touchdown in overtime as the Philadelphia Eagles rally past Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills 37-34. And the Baltimore Ravens forcing 4 turnovers in a 20-10 win over the LA Chargers. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Dairy Queen. We've got a ridge of high pressure across the area that's going to weaken and gradually shift eastwards ahead of a cold front that will drift into the northwest Bahamas today. Mariners and beachgoers should be alert for possible water spout activity. For the northwest Bahamas today, forecast calls for variably cloudy and warm conditions with isolated showers and possible thunderstorms, mainly near the front. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Wind southwest to west at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times ahead of the front. Winds will veer northwest to north at 15 knots behind the front tonight. Seas 2 to 4 feet ahead of the front, but increasing to 3 to 5 feet behind the front tonight. For the central and southeast Bahamas today, partly cloudy, warm and a bit breezy, with a few possible passing showers. Wind southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots in the central islands, becoming south to southwest at 10 knots or less tonight. East to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the southeastern islands. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Temperature-wise, today look for highs getting up to around 85 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 71 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. What can we expect from this cold front? We'll tell you in your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. Your first look at weather brought to you by Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen's got the sweetest deal, 50% off all cakes, boxes, and DQ sandwiches, dilly bars, Buster Bar, fall blizzards, and delicious 100% beef hot dogs. Deals continue on Cyber Monday. There will be 50% off of the $5 gift cards today. To be eligible for the Cyber Monday sale, you must click the link on the Facebook or Instagram page to receive a QR code that you must present in store. For more information, follow DQ on social media platforms and ask a member of staff for more.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Go CIBC First Caribbean. We help you
To get what you want this year, spin the wheel of wishes. A trip for two to Miami. Spin the wheel of wishes. You can win loads of cash for Christmas. CIBC First Caribbean.
win with your approved loan. Visit CIBC FCIB/Wheel of Wishes for more information. Conditions apply.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Unlock dream deals this Black Friday at Alive with up to 55% off select Ring devices. Instantly upgrade your home security with 24/7 remote monitoring, motion detection, and instant alerts. Want full protection? Save even more by bundling your devices. From the front door to the backyard, secure your home with products like our Video Doorbell 4 and floodlight cameras. Shop online at BeAlive.com or at select Alive stores in Nassau and now available in Grand Bahama, Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma. Alive. Believe in best.
Cashmas time, here we go. Mercy's doing it big this year. Cashmas time with extra chair. 12 days of merry winnings from your friends at Island Bay. Friends we trust, hey we know. Cashmas time, here we go. Prizes and lots of dough. This Christmas, come catch a lick with 20 on your account. Quick, quick, quick. And you can win some awesome stuff at Percy's Island Game.
Join the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, SBDC Bahamas, and Alive Business on Saturday, November 4th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Crypto Isle on East Bay Street. See what's new, sample products, demo services, and shop from a variety of businesses throughout our local communities. We hope to see you at Trade Expo 2023 on November 4th. Admission is free and the event is family friendly. For more information, call the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce at 322-2145.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Win a vacation for two to Sandals Resort in Jamaica using your RBC Visa credit card in the RBC Gift Yourself the Ultimate Getaway promotion. Just spend $1,500 or local equivalent. Promotion ends on December 18, 2023. Visit rbcultimategetaway.com for more details.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Coming up this morning, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking with a Bahamian historian who is going to be traveling to Ghana to give a special presentation there on at the University of Education Winneba in Ghana on the topic Rhythm of a People, Tradition, Connection, Innovation, and Decolonization. You can get a little preview of that this morning. And presenting on the topic of the resurrection of John Canoe, warrior king of Ahanta. We've talked about this before, but it's always fun, especially with us just being a few weeks away from John Canoe, right? So we're going to talk about that this morning. Later in business, we are meeting with Maison Bahamas representatives about the Windsor Lakes community. Exciting opportunity there. We'll get some details about that this morning. That's all straight ahead, but let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, the big headline in the NASA Guardian, government backs shift on global tax rules. Our Paige McCartney writing about this today. The Bahamas has voted in support of United Nations resolution that would shift decision-making on global tax policies and rules towards the UN and away from global bodies like the European Union and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. groups that are frequently blacklisting countries like the Bahamas. Earlier this month, 125 UN member nations voted in support of the United Nations resolution on the promotion of inclusive and effective international tax cooperation. The United States, United Kingdom, and all EU member countries were among the 48 that voted against the resolution. 9 nations abstained, the U.S. and the U.K. So the Office of the Prime Minister issuing a statement on this saying, quote, the United Nations decision to endorse a more inclusive tax governance framework marks a profound advancement for global economic and tax policy, a cause the Bahamas has long championed. This development closely reflects our comprehensive report to the UN Secretary General advocating for a fair tax system that embraces the diverse fiscal landscapes of all nations and particularly supports the economic realities of developing countries. Prime Minister Philip Davis, in a September 15th letter to the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, highlighted the deleterious actions of the OECD and other global financial watchdogs, which frequently portray the Bahamas as a danger to the revenues of developed nations. As he gave his report to take decision-making power away from a small club of rich countries, the Prime Minister's words, a small club of rich countries in the global north. So he wrote at the time, quote, most global initiatives in the current international tax system were designed to focus on the international financial centers of the global south, i.e. Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean, Oceania, and parts of Asia, as well as profit-shifting strategies used by powerful digital technology companies. The global south can be contrasted with the global north, comprised of wealthy, industrialized countries. Poverty, inequality, and political instability disproportionately affect the global south. The global south also tends to be more vulnerable to the effects of climate change, natural disasters, and other environmental challenges. The climate crisis is largely created by industrialized countries, many in the global north. The effect of the climate crisis is felt disproportionately by small developing countries like the Bahamas. This is exacerbated by the arbitrary blacklisting of these same vulnerable countries, such as the Bahamas, by the very same countries that are responsible for the climate crisis. Now, a shift away from the tax policies of the current global financial leaders has been more than a 50-year battle. Advocacy group Tax Justice Network has reported last week that in its weeks leading up to the historic vote, there was a strong resistance from the OECD and some of its member nations as the bloc reportedly attempted to kill the UN's negotiating process. The Prime Minister in his letter, though, said inequality is embedded in the multilateral tax architecture that exists today, a process he called flawed, inequitable, and unfair. The EU's unique tax this is the Prime Minister, this is what he said, quote, the EU's unique tax haven blacklisting assessment process considers not only whether the OECD's standards are satisfied, but also the EU's code of conduct. The EU views its code of conduct as being binding on all countries worldwide, not only its member states. This is not by consensus. In truth, the EU lacks the legal and ethical legitimacy to apply its code of conduct to any nation without that nation's approval. However, the EU superimposes its authority on non-member countries through the back door of the non-inclusive OECD. Against this backdrop, countries like the Bahamas and those who make up the global south are coerced to comply by way of threat of punitive action from multiple international bodies and financial institutions, some of whom have no global standing. In addition, under the current OECD framework, a country is deemed to agree to a proposal where it fails to raise an objection. There is no requirement for an opt-in, hence a country that cannot stay abreast with the pace of measures and who does not have the chance to articulate an opinion is taken as agreeing with the OECD proposal. Non-voting members have consistently taken issue with the lack of a formal voting process and the need for more openness about decision-making. Developing countries do not have voting rights within the OECD, and the OECD does not inherently represent their interests. We do not have full participation in agenda setting and decision-making. The process is flawed, inequitable, and unfair. The process needs to be remodeled. All right, so there's a lot more on what the The Prime Minister's statement says, the Office of the Prime Minister's statement says, in the paper today, the vote comes as the OECD seeks to impose a 15% global minimum corporate income tax by 2024, of which the Bahamas has agreed to implement. All right, so let's get your reaction to it. Hopefully in the next few days we'll be able to get some tax experts in to talk more fully about this, but it definitely sounds like something that will only be beneficial to countries like the Bahamas, moving this away from the EU and the OECD. And we've heard this for decades now about these moving goalposts and what this will mean for us, as it seems to many that these countries are trying to destroy the financial services industry here. But let's get your views on it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Again, standard text rates apply. Let's get your views on that matter this morning. All right, so while we discuss that, let's do this right now, and then we can get into some other things making headlines this morning. Let's go to this call. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Yes, good morning. I appreciate listening to your well reading. I probably don't have to buy the paper this morning.
Oh, boy. There's still some more in there that I didn't read, so you pick up today's paper or go online, NassauGuardian.com.
I always do. Trust me, that's how I keep up with you guys. But listen up now. Obviously, this OECD is about to destroying our economy. Is that what they're saying here?
Who's they? That's what many think, but that's not what anybody said explicitly today, nor did the Office of the Prime Minister's statement say that.
Okay, do you remember C. Alan Johnson called one time ago and said that he have information where someone actually said that they're not going to stop taxing us until we are destroyed? Do you remember that?
I mean, people say a lot of things. There's no official policy, I believe, on it. I don't think they could get away with that. But it does seem by the actions that might be the end goal. It might be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. So obviously, saying that now that we know that, what do we do about it?
I don't know if we know that, but some have theorized. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I really like the way we tiptoe around these things.
Well,
anyway, thanks for taking my call.
Okay, all right. It doesn't mean that you can't continue to make sure that your system is robust, right? Just because it seems like somebody else is out to get you, right? There might be some merits to what they're suggesting. But at times, that does seem like they're doing what you talked about. So we'll see if the UN can make a difference here. But again, look at the countries that voted against this, our friends. Mm-hmm. But, that's how it is. That's how it goes. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay, so continue to send your calls in and your messages about this, and we'll talk about that throughout the morning. Some other things making headlines and catching our eyes here. So this story, Minnis had no interest in campaigning for the FNM. Our Travis Cartwright Carroll writing about it. FNM Chairman Dr. Twain Sands said yesterday that while the party invited former leader and former Prime Minister Dr. Minnis to join its campaign to win the West Grand Bahama and Bimini seat, Minnis decided not to. The party's candidate, Bishop Ricardo Grant, as you know, lost to the PLP's Kingsley Smith in Wednesday's vote. Now, while the FNM brought out former leaders Hubert Ingram and Tommy Turnquest, Minnis was noticeably absent on the rally stage and on the ground. Asked if Minnis was invited to take part in the campaign, Sands said yesterday, quote, he was. People make the choices they make for the reasons that they make them. When asked if Minnis explained why he would not join the campaign, Sands said, quote, no, certainly not to me. Now, when asked his thoughts on the party's loss, Minnis told the Nassau Guardian yesterday that he had no comment and referred the paper to Sands or FNM leader Michael Pintard. Though the party suffered a brutal defeat, Sands said it's stronger than ever and will remain a force to be reckoned with. Sand said, quote, "We've lost by-elections before. If I had to do it over again in the balance of consideration, we would do it again. I don't think we had any realistic opportunity to not contest the by-election. We went into it in a spirited and aggressive way, and we sought to mount an aggressive campaign to win the by-election. We didn't go there to show. We didn't go there to put our name on the ballot as a passive entity. We went in there to take out the government in that by-election. We didn't accomplish that, but we sure as hell made people look and listen." Smith received 2,150 votes, while Grant got 1,276 votes. The FNM lost ground when compared to 2021. Grant got 34% of the votes last week. In the 2021 general election, the FNM's Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe received 38% of the votes. Sand said members of the FNM came together in a way not seen in years. He says that, quote, "We continue to do what we've been doing since election 2021 and conventions of 2021 and 2022. Bear in mind, we had a leadership selection process in November of 2021, and then we had a convention in February 2022. We inherited a broken, very disillusioned party that had gone from 35 to 4 seats to a complete reversal of fortune. We have sought to rebuild the organization from the ground up. We continue that process." Okay. Let's get your reaction to that. Minutes was asked, but declined. Many were wondering about it, saying why wasn't he there, and some even suggested last week, although that's wild, that perhaps it's why they weren't successful. Okay. But let's get your reaction to this. He declined to even comment on it yesterday. Minutes. And did not want to be a part of the process. So, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. What do you think would have happened if Minutes was involved? Do you think it would have been a different result? Better? Worse? What say you? Some text messages here. This is about the tax system. I have to agree with the Prime Minister for all the reasons he voted against. What? It seems like nothing the Bahamas did was enough to keep us on the blacklist. You mean for the UN resolution. That's what you mean. Voted for the UN resolution. Sure. Okay. This person says, Dwight, I'm not a fan of my cousin, the competent authority, but I am with him. He's not the leader. Don't ask him why they lost. Michael Pintard needs to take the blame. Okay. All right. They're just asking his opinion. He's a member of the House, still former leader of the country. That's all. But I get you. I hear you. This person says, it's obvious that Dr. Minutes is not a team player. Oh, boy. Yeah. Maybe he didn't like the members of the team. Maybe that's it. 422-4796. Continue to text us. Call in 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. Listen, they should have been quite happy that Minutes stayed away from the campaign, because Minutes would have brought up too many memories of the lockdown and also the lines that they created during the pandemic, because I actually got a message from the people in Freeport, especially that they don't want to see Minutes. So they should have been happy that Minutes stayed away. So trust me. Okay? I think it would be more disastrous.
Oh, boy.
All right?
Okay.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, here's a text here. If Minutes was involved, Grant would not have voted for himself. Oh, boy. Well, you're assuming that he did. But I hear you. Interesting. Okay. So, let's continue to talk about that. Here's another interesting story in the National Guardian today. FNM founding father Maurice Moore giving his views on what happened with the by-election. Arcandia Dame's writing about it. 2 years into the Davis administration's term, the government has done nothing for the people of West Grand, Bahama, and Bimini. but the PLP still walked away with 57% of the votes in the by-election because a lot of money was being thrown around and because so many voters felt threatened. This is what Maurice Moore is saying. He told the Nassau Guardian, quote, the F&M, given the circumstances and given actions that the government has taken, I felt okay about the returns. The problem really is that the government has basically threatened the people. You don't return my man and nothing will happen for you. More saying here, where's the rest of it? Okay. He ran the affairs of the House, and he, the Prime Minister, did not do one single thing in Obi's constituency. He was very offended about it, quite frankly. This is what, this is what Moore is saying. Nothing has been done there because I've had many conversations with Obi, and Obi said the government just has not provided him with any funds for his constituency. Oh, boy. Well, I don't know if we could. Yeah. Hearsay here. But anyway, we talked about it, and he was not at all pleased. He couldn't get the government to do one single thing in his constituency, just fixing the dock. West End is a fishing community. The government dock has gone to hell. It's dangerous. You can't even go out on it. And he was very upset. The conversations he had with me, he was very upset. The government is playing too much politics. See, when you're the government, it's the government of all the people. I don't see that in Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis. It seems to me they are spending a lot of money in Cat Island and in Exuma to hell with the rest of the country. And I'm annoyed about it, but there's nothing much I can do about it. The people are suffering. A fishing village, he didn't even go there, West Grand Bahama, to fix their dock. When you are the government and you're spending the country's money, at least those things that are a serious necessity in the areas, any government with a little bit of soul will fix it. He wouldn't even fix the dock in the fishing village of West End. I drove down there in the afternoon on election day, but I couldn't stomach it. It really is a sad, sad state of affairs. I hope and pray that at least he will do something in West End, but I doubt it. They're playing politics. That's all he's doing. And so a lot of the he there. So, folks, again, this is really going to make me upset on a Monday morning. I don't know if I can make it through the week. So this is the type of thing that we don't need any more of. All right? Listen carefully. Who is he? This one king person, yeah? You think this is the way a country should be run? One person making the decisions? This system is ridiculous. Right? It is not making sense. You continue to do foolishness you're doing voting for these people, and it'll never get better. If this were an autonomous place that could make their own decisions, this could never happen. But when somebody in a totally different part of the world decides your fate, this is what we get. That makes sense to you? You feel comfortable? Founding fathers talking like this? Because they created this crazy system, and they expect it to continue with any sense. Does it make sense to you? Let's hear from you. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Well, who's the he? What is this? 242-300-5. I mean, he's right, but why should it be up to the he? You were in the House, you're a cabinet minister, and you can't do anything because he doesn't want to do anything about it? What is that? Toll free, 242-300-5720, and you all are expecting something to change. I don't understand it. From these folks, both sides, this is the country they created. This is what they like. Because they want you to come to the he and beg the he to do something, so they can hold it over your head in by-election time. If you do this for me, then I will do this for you. Huh? And if you don't, then what? Okay. Text us, 422-4796. Am I the only one who's... no? Okay. Boy. Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you this morning, Dwight?
I'm annoyed. Annoyed. Mm-hmm.
Tell Mr. Mortem, stop telling lies on the pits of hell, please. Okay?
Well, what is the lie, though?
When they're saying that the Prime Minister was saying, if you don't do this to me, I wouldn't do this to you.
I mean,
That's a lie from the pits
he
of
didn't
hell.
say that he
Anybody
said
knows-
it, but that's what was implied.
No, that is incorrect. I was there.
Yeah,
Okay?
no,
I was
we
there.
all got that, though. We all got that if you don't do this for me, then this might not happen.
Listen, that is a lie.
You
from the
can't
pits
tell
of
people
hell.
how they feel. This is
No,
what
I'm
this is
not
what it
saying
sounded
how you
like.
feel, sir. I'm not saying that. I'm not disputing how you feel. But if you spoken to the residents told us when we went into West End itself, the community of West End, the first thing they said to the persons who went down there, did you all bring the bag? Because so-and-so brought their bags. We're waiting on your bags. So the candidate himself said, what bag you talking about? I have no bag. I only can give you what's intended to happen for your community. Okay? I was there with the...
All right, I think you're missing the point. You're missing what Moore is saying. I'm also angry at what Moore is saying.
I understand what you're saying.
But everybody's wrong here.
Yeah, but
right?
let
The
me-
way we've run this country is ridiculous. Right? These decisions shouldn't be made by one person in Nassau. This
But
is
you have to
insane.
understand.
These places need autonomy so they can do these
You have to
things.
change the system to the way.
Yeah, so what are we waiting for?
Well, listen to me. Let's put it this way. Haiti has a republic system. How is Haiti
Why do you keep
wicked
on bringing that one? That's the worst example of a republic in the entire world.
I'm just saying.
Don't bring that one up. That's a crazy example.
Yeah, but that's not the only example.
We'll
There's
bring up a
another
better one.
example. Even Barbados have a republic.
No, not. We don't want that type of republic. No.
But I'm just saying, Barbados have a republic.
Yeah,
system,
the
but
wrong
first
ones.
thing they had to
That's
do
not the
is-
point. Well, that's not what this is about, though. This is about decentralized government, not
I
about being a
understand what
republic.
you're saying, but my
Because
thing-
Canada and Australia are not republics, and they have decentralized government.
Yeah, but
right?
we can make a system that suits the Bahamas.
What are we waiting for?
Well, I'm not in government, so I can't answer that one.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? The people in government don't care. And here we are, 50 years of doing the same nonsense,
All right, let me
functioning
say
like
this
we
to
have a
you,
king.
Dwight, 4.5 years. The school, one of the contractors died waiting for his funding to complete the school, Dwight. And Maurice Morton don't see anything wrong with that. The government building, 4.5, basically the government building was finished, completed. And they just let it sit dormant. You know, so when they talk, they need to speak about things that they didn't do as a government, okay?
Well, they may not say, but we all know.
Yeah.
We know that they did very little as well. And we are, and the people of that area are not any better after 10, 20 years of the same old.
Yeah, but now we'll be able to see the difference in the next 3 years. Okay, let's give it some time. You have 3 more years to go. You'll see the difference within this government for the people of West Grand Baham and Bimini. Okay? Because all I'm saying is they're complaining about the government dock. They didn't even finish the boat ramp in West End. Okay? They haven't finished one boat ramp in West End. You're talking about the government dock. Let's even go to the government dock. But they're the ones that spend the government purse. Left the country in shambles when it comes to finance. And now they're complaining. Come on, man. Now, I see why some persons say, if you want to find where the money gone in the last 4.5 years, you will soon see it, all right, when some of them end up in court, okay? Thank you. Have a good morning, man.
Okay. Okay. We know they're as bad as each other, so you don't have to prepare yourself to see who's the worst. You're twins, so we don't do that. Let's talk about how we're going to get away from this. Right? We need to get out of this mess. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Call us back. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. You're on the air. Turn on your radio for us, please.
Hey, Dwight Strachan, get a life here.
He's back. He's back. So this is why. This is what y'all want. Y'all want the two to play with you like this. And you think it's fine. They decide who gets the development and which island thrives. and when. You all like it? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Hey, I also was down there for the campaigning, right? And a lot of those things when Maurice Moore said, right? Although the FNMA is no different, like all of us know. Hello?
Yeah, we're listening.
Yeah, although the FNM is no different in treating those people down there, like some of those homes down there is in a deplorable state, man.
It's very sad.
And exactly what the people were saying is for real, right? The people were saying that O.B. Welshcombe, right, was not being treated properly by this PLP government and administration. Yeah, the FNM had 4 years to do something. They did nothing. The PLP now is done into 2 years, and the people are still suffering. And all they saying is, all the PLP is continuing to say is the 4.5 years what the FNM done. The people don't need to be looking back to go forward. We vote in these governments to propel our communities and make it better. Not for them to be put on a pedestal to be worshipped and I mean it was so wrong to see the Prime Minister with the entourage of people intimidating those people, man. You know, it was sad. It was really, really sad, man. You know, and so I hope the people in West End get their due diligence because those people in West End are suffering. Right. Have a nice day.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, let's read a few of your messages, and we got to take a break, and I'll come back to the rest of the messages. This person says here, wasn't it? Isn't this the same Pintard and Sands who was preventing minutes from speaking to constituency meetings? I don't know what your point is, but okay, yeah, I guess. But they asked him if he wanted to have a role, and he said no. All right. Dwight, it looks like Dr. Minnis is on a book tour. He has no time for petty politics. Are you getting a copy? On another note, it is in the country's and region's best interest to establish and oversee their tax system, especially in this climate fight. The FNM needs to do a bit more to heal this party. Do I say make him leader? But no, but he has support within the party. A little bit of everything in that text, okay? For future, when I say M.M. Pintard, that means motor mouth Pintard. Oh, I was wondering what you meant by that. They said M.M. Pintard. I was a texter who said that Pintard is to blame for the loss. M.M. Pintard means motor mouth Pintard. Him talking so much doesn't mean he is making sense. It seems Minnis's party, it's still Minnis's party until the next election. Who is the people in Freeport who said they didn't want to see Minnis? Thought elections were in West End and Bimini, West Grand Bahama and Bimini. Well, that's what the caller said. Okay. Minnis wanted to be traded or fired from the FNM. And Minnis needs to go sit his petty self, I'm editing here, I guess, behind. Petty behind down. Wow, my goodness. Okay. And another one here. Seems like Mike Cal needs a by-election to get some attention. Yeah, I think you said that last week, texter. This texter, was that Dave? Yep, it was the one and only Dave, representative of the party, you think? Dwight, does Maurice Moore know that the FNM was in power 2 years ago and still did nothing for West Grand Bahama? Also, he's from East Grand Bahama, where the FNM did nothing for that area as well. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Everybody's very confused. But yet, the places look like that for 20 years, folks. 20 years. From as long as I've been going. But anyway, let's take a break. When we come back, more of your text messages and more on this. What do you make of all of this stuff that's going on, folks? Give us a call. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and toll free 242-300-5720. When we get back, this is Morning Blend on a Monday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's a Christmas wish for all of you. Get a no-fee loan from RBC. It's true.
This Christmas, your wish could come true with a no-fee loan from RBC. You have 5 chances to win up to $5,000 Christmas cash.
It's a Christmas wish for all of you. Get a no-fee loan from RBC. It's true.
Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/Christmas cash. Subject to normal lending criteria. Conditions apply.
Know a company stuck in the Stone Age with papers stacked to the ceiling and just about nothing getting done? Don't let your business get left behind. Go digital and ditch the papers. At Plato Alpha Design, we create custom software to meet all your digital needs, saving you time and helping you make money. Give us a call today at 812-2195 or visit platoalpha.com. It's time to ditch the papers and let us help you go digital. At Plato Alpha Design, we're the leaders of digital transformation.
Have you heard of Janae's Monday Madness sale going on this Monday only? Buy 2 of the same decoration items at the best Christmas selections and prices in town and get the 3rd one free. Yes, free. Restrictions apply. Trees, lighted angels, Santas, ornaments, lights, mesh, picks, and more. But don't forget the toys. 30% off toy purchases plus an additional 20% off if you provide a Janae's receipt for a 2021 purchase over $50. VAT excluded. Janae's Chesapeake Road Monday Madness sale. Extended store hours till 7 p.m. Hurry in and get more bang for your bucks.
7:37 the time. Time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Get a no-fee RBC loan plus 5 chances to win up to $5,000. In your real-time traffic this morning, your usual hotspot, Mila Butler Highway. Heavy traffic this morning from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout straight up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. That's in the northbound lanes there. Fire Trail is backed up a bit eastbound toward that roundabout with Mila Butler Highway. Over on Glasson Road, also busy for you, well south of the Fire Trail roundabout, intersection, straight up to the roundabout with JFK Drive. A bit of congestion along JFK eastbound as well. And southbound on Bahamar Boulevard, westbound on JFK. And so, from what we're seeing, we might be having some traffic assistance at the moment, so that picture might change for you in quite a bit, and it could mean some increased traffic along JFK Drive, so keep that in mind if you're heading out right now. Elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic for you from about St. Vincent straight up to Independence Drive, that's northbound, especially near Carmichael and north of Soldier Road. Building traffic on Independence Drive both directions. And East Street looking busy for you, especially near Soldier Road, the intersection there, especially north of that intersection on the way to the roundabout with East-West Highway, Independence Drive. We've got pockets along Prince Charles, especially as you approach Beatrice Avenue and near Elizabeth Estates and Fox Hill Road. And then Robinson Road between Soldier and Old Trail. Heavy traffic for you westbound. Soldier busy for you on the way to Wolf Village and Bernard Road, that intersection. Eastern Road, heavy traffic from San Souci straight up to Johnson Road if you're heading westbound this morning. That's what we're looking at right now in your real-time traffic. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend Traffic brought to you by RBC. Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/Christmas Cash. $7:39, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Easy Car Sales. We've got a ridge of high pressure across the area that's going to weaken and gradually shift eastwards ahead of a cold front that will drift into the northwest Bahamas today. Mariners and beachgoers should be alert for possible waterspout activity. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, your forecast calls for variably cloudy and warm conditions with isolated showers and possible thunderstorms, mainly near the front. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy, warm and a bit breezy with a few possible passing showers. Temperature-wise today, we're looking at highs getting up to around 85 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 71 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. Currently in Nassau, it's about 77 degrees, partly cloudy skies. In your extended outlook, that cold front will drift southeastwards into the central Bahamas on Tuesday and then continue into the southeast Bahamas by Wednesday, where it's expected to stall. So that's going to mean for Tuesday, tomorrow, variably cloudy and a bit breezy with scattered showers and the chance of a stray thunderstorm, mainly in the central Bahamas. Wednesday, variably cloudy, a bit windy, isolated showers and a few possible thunderstorms, mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas. That's your morning blend weather check. We'll have a look at your tropics coming up in our next weather check after the 8 o'clock news. This weather check brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Take an electric vehicle for a spin. Experience the incredible performance firsthand. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales to suit your budget and your lifestyle. Book a test drive today at easy242.com.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
Celebrate the holidays in style with Nassau Tiles Holiday Sale from November 22nd to 29th. Save up to 25% off select porcelain tiles, up to 30% off ceramic tiles, and 20% off store-wide on all tiles, thin set, grout, and mosaics. Our dedicated tile experts will guide you in choosing the right tile for your floor, wall, indoor, or outdoor space. Visit the Nassau Tile Showroom today at number 43 Doswell Street or call our tile experts at 322-2100 to make your dream space a reality.
Hi, my AC just went out and I need someone to come fix it.
I'm sorry, we're closed.
Okay, what about tomorrow?
We're only open on Thursday. And we're fully booked.
Have anything next week?
No.
Okay, when can you send someone out?
The 22nd is open.
I'll take it.
Of December 2023.
With the best medical cover for your dollar, we're like an AC technician who isn't too busy for you. CG Atlantic Medical and Life. Good like that.
Ciao! Fidelity can on this year with their new festive giveaway. You could win cash, an iPhone 15, get a bill paid off, PS5, all kind of things. Apply for a loan or an ASUS savings account, and you could win. Try our call them now, yeah? 356-7764.
J&J got what you need for everyday skincare. For that smooth skin, got Neutrogena, Aveeno Clean and Clear. We got Listerine that's gonna keep your breath fresh and clean. For all that you love, I'm gonna tell you what you need. Johnson & Johnson, Children's Motrin, Aveeno, Johnson, baby. Johnson & Johnson, Black Benadryl, got Tylenol and Bengay. Johnson & Johnson, Lubriderm, Imodium and Visine. For all that you love, I'm gonna tell you what you need. Johnson & Johnson.
Proudly distributed by Lowe's Wholesale.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
There's a new electric vehicle in town. The Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans. Available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
What would you do with extra cash? Plan a trip.
Overhaul my wardrobe.
With CIBC First Caribbean, you can get comfy with savings on your mortgage costs. Buy or build your home or switch your mortgage to us and get up to US $1,000 off the loan application fee. Up to US $2,000 off home insurance. With up to US $10,000 towards switching costs, your pockets will be comfy too. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/get comfy for more information. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you on this Monday morning. Okay, so we're going to get back to your text messages in just a bit. We've been talking about a few things. The government says it's going to back the shift on global tax rules, backing a resolution to have the decision-making done by the UN as opposed to the EU and the OECD. We're talking about that. We're also talking about the by-election still, as F&M Chairman Dr. Dwight says that former Prime Minister Dr. Jimenez was not interested in campaigning for the F&M in the lead-up to the by-election. And then getting a reaction to this story in the paper about F&M founding father Maurice Moore, who is claiming that in his conversations with Obie Wilshcombe that Wilshcombe Fellows being, I guess, held back by the government and not able to do a lot of the things that were needed for the constituency. All right, but that is making me angry as well because he keeps talking about how he doesn't want to do anything. This is a he, and the he we are assuming is Prime Minister Philip Davis. And I'm angry. I'm angry because this is the type of language we keep hearing. We've been hearing from the beginning of time for this country that it's a he who makes the decisions. The people of a different island have to wait on him, the great almighty, to decide when things will get done there. And clearly I've been transplanted here by accident because I don't get why everybody loves this system that we have. Make it make sense to me. I need you to do it. Get me on your page. Why we think that it should be the House members who should be doing everything. So you're elected to the House, and you should be put into the cabinet, and you should get to decide everything, especially, well, if the great he, decides that he wants it to be so. And that's all you do. You work to please him, and that's the way it should be, as opposed to having a place where there are specific people elected to manage a city, an island, and plan its development, come up with ideas for it, separate from the lawmakers, the way it is done in almost every single country in the world, even the communist ones. I don't understand. Please, somebody explain why we feel the Bahamas is the most special place in the world and should have this very unique system. Tell me, I really do need to know why we think that will make sense, because it doesn't work. Go around to these other islands and see how things look there. Grand Bahama is a perfect example. As soon as you come out of the port area, the Freeport, Lucaya area, and then you move east or west of the area, then you're in a totally different world. It seems like a time warp, and you could see what happens when there's an entity responsible for managing an area versus the government, and what the difference is. You see that here in New Providence too, right? Where people do things on their own, independent of the MP. But why we think this is a system that makes sense. Get me to understand it. Maybe today will be the day I will shut up about local government and decentralized government. Make it make sense to me. Obviously, I have a developmental disorder and I don't understand. But please, call in and tell me why this system is the best. 323-6232. They don't even do this in the UK. What's happening? Someone tell me. 323-6232. 325-4316. Don't tell me it's the size of the country, because the country is smaller than us that don't do this. So come, I'm waiting. 325-4259, toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Please tell me why this system makes the most sense. I'm waiting. Somebody call me. Tell me why we have to wait for him, the great he, to decide if he's going to fix a dock on an island hundreds of miles from Nassau, and when he's the MP for a place hundreds of miles south of Nassau. Someone tell me, please, why it has to be like this. Text us too. Okay, I'm waiting. This person says, Dwight, I am in Canada, and it's sad listening to excuses after excuses by both the government and their cronies calling your shows. Our Bahamas should be a country that works for the people and not to satisfy their cronies by contracts. Please, Bahamians, wake up. Guardian Radio is simply the best. Why keep doing what you're doing? God bless Guardian Radio. Okay, thank you very much. Texting from Canada. This person says, you're on a positive note. West End and Grand Bahama and Bimini are now guaranteed some major improvements in short order. Okay. The general election for the PLP means nothing less. With more by-elections, the PLP's blueprint for change gains impetus for more support. The FNM needs a Trojan horse to reverse the tide. At this point, the art of politics is not poetics. Okay. Dwight, interesting how Pintard always talks about leadership but hates to take responsibility for the loss. Grant wasn't a bad candidate. He had Pintard and Sands. You could see it like that if you want. I mean, I don't think that's what it was. The PLP had nothing to do with who the people were. That's why we didn't hear them talk. That's why they didn't talk. It had nothing to do with who they were. It was all about the color and the timing. That's all. And again, this is wild. Right? This is why we don't ever know who the candidates are. That's why they don't ever talk to us before they get elected. That's why we find out crazy things about them afterward. Because it doesn't matter to you. You don't care. You don't want the best candidate. You want the one who's representing the party that you are least sick and tired of at the time of the general election. And this is why we get what we get. So please stop. This person says here, I disagree with the FNM chairman. I'm willing to vote for them in 2026, but records are clear that Pintard has blocked minutes on many occasions from speaking for the FNM, even with regard to their constituency meetings. It's clear both Sands and Pintard have personal issues with minutes after their party suffers because it's about their ego and not their party or the people. If the FNMs decide who is in that leadership role, can't see that egos on top are hurting their party rather than good, they will not win in 2026. Okay. Sure. I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me. I'm waiting to get on board. This one says they like the system because, it's the best one to maintain and exert control. Yeah, well, I get that. I mean, so we're fine with that, right? That's what you're saying. That we're fine if certain people can get all they can get at the top and then filter down a little bit of contracts here and there for some of us. And then, and then every 5 years it changes to the other people, and the other people who didn't get a contract last time will get it this time. And so back and forth, everybody gets a little piece of the pie, and that's fine. And I don't have to take responsibility for how the place looks because he did it. The big he did it. And then we kick him out of there and then put another he in there, and he gets to decide what gets done and filters down the contracts to everybody or some people, and then we can blame him when things don't get done and then kick him out and put the other he back in, and then, yep, that's how it is. Okay, we like it like that. Okay, well, I mean, we could stop doing the show, right? Just stop. It's 5 years for them, do what they want to do. 5 years for the next ones after that. What's the point? Right? What do you say? You think we should just stop? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Toll free, 242-300-5720. This person says here, people are waiting on the Prime Minister to fix things, and he hasn't even checked for his own constituency for years. This one says here, projects are halted because the MP has no budget for himself. Yeah, well, the MP should be making better laws. How about that? Some of these laws are from the 1800s and need to be thrown away. Do they do that? Do they even do that? All right, local government does not work as it is in place in all Family Islands. You are not making sense, texter. Go and look at what that local government system is. What is that? They don't have decision-making power. They cannot decide. They cannot come up with a plan for their place, for their islands. I don't even know what to call it. It is like I've said it before. It's like it's a prefect in primary school. That's what okay, when I'm away, you just make sure they don't make too much noise. Write down their names if they do anything, okay? You're right. It doesn't work. It's not the type of system that we should have. It's a joke. Right? You get it? Okay. Decentralized government will definitely have some effect over local government. Okay. We need to abandon that type of local government. We need much more autonomy for our islands. Much more. This person says here, I'm not fine with it. That's why I never ever vote. Well, that's not going to help anything either. That's not the way to not. No. I mean, I understand you might not want to vote for any of the people who run. Right. But I don't think that's the right way to do it. This one says, it'll never change. They like control and power. I agree, Dwight. Law and old? Laws are old, okay, and need to be updated and changed. This person says here, concerning the UN resolution vote on the calling for fair, balanced tax regulation compliance, I found it so refreshing that current Prime Minister Philip Davis spoke up about it on behalf of the Bahamas and the so-called entire global South. 50 years of independence, all of these other so-called smart, bold, brave Bahamian prime ministers before Prime Minister Davis, and none of them seemingly took this unfair tax regulation issue to the UN. Okay. Seems like only Prime Minister Davis is brave enough to do it. I guess that is why they call him Brave Davis. By the way, I am disappointed in the majority of the texters and calls not commenting on this. They seem more concerned about local FNM and PLP party politics and not global politics that heavily and drastically impact the Bahamas. Okay. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, switch everything around. Tell me this. When they can talk about these paving the whole of Nassau. Just about.
When is who going to talk about it?
The government. Because these roads are really bad, man. I mean, we going into the new year the same way we start off this year. I mean, from they being in government, I mean, everything they say they was going to do. I guess, I mean, I don't know what's going on, man. I mean, and the people ain't making noise, not because everyone, you know what I mean, some people, them take it right up to their doorstep and everything and all that, and they don't have to dodge no hole or nothing, so certain people ain't worrying about certain things, but everyone that just affect everyone.
Well,
the tourists.
The government did say that there is a massive paving campaign over the next few months, so I believe it sounds like it'll be in earnest next year.
The difference is paving and patching now, right, man. I mean, they patching, you know, they famous for patching these roads.
That is true.
We need a full pave because no sense patching these roads. So we will see what's going on. I just want to know because I just chopping one hole. And you know.
I hear you. It's terrible. Right. Thank you very much. Yeah. So that's what they said. Will it happen? We'll see. We will see. All right, a couple more of your messages. I'm still waiting for people to tell me what's so great about this system that we have here. Where anybody? No one's saying. Okay, all right. Stop saying that you want change and you don't vote. Then complain that things will never change. If you don't vote, then the same PLP and FM loyalists who vote for grocery, rum, and free parties will vote the same people back in. Yeah, I agree with you. Don't do that. This person says here, what you're failing to realize is that corruption is embedded in the hearts of many Bahamians. Changing a name from two-party to republic to local government won't change the people who have to vote and are willing to sell their vote for some incumbent or inducement rather. The solution is part ingraining ethics trading in the minds of our children and the eradication of corruption. There's a solution. Remember the caller who happily stated that y'all don't get mad with me, my MP win, and I get in contract? Well, that is the problem. The people who have the vote who are happy to be corrupt. The politicians who bribe the willingly corrupt are a smaller issue. Okay. Something else to watch out for. These foreign places blacklist is under both governments, but watch the FNM attack the PLP instead of coming together and fighting. Okay. We're going to go to the news. I'm going to wait for you to text me again what's so great about the way we do it here. I'm waiting to hear it. Nobody's saying anything. So I think I know what that means. Well, this is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. And now at 8:21, time for another check of your weather for today. We've got a ridge of high pressure across the area. That's going to weaken and gradually shift eastwards ahead of a cold front that's going to drift into the northwest Bahamas today. Boaters and beachgoers should be alert for possible waterspout activity. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, look for variably cloudy and warm conditions with isolated showers and possible thunderstorms, mainly near the front. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. For the central southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy, warm, and a bit breezy with a few passing showers. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs getting up to around 85 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 71 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that cold front is going to drift southeastwards into the central Bahamas on Tuesday and then continue into the southeast Bahamas on Wednesday, where it's expected to stall. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, variably cloudy, a bit breezy, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the central Bahamas. Wednesday, variably cloudy, a bit breezy, isolated showers and a few possible thunderstorms, mainly again in the central Bahamas and the southeastern islands. The tropics are quiet in this final week of the Atlantic hurricane season. Tropical cyclone formation unexpected during the next 7 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check. And time for another check of your traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Get a no-fee RBC loan plus 5 chances to win up to $5,000. In your real-time traffic this morning, as we told you, we could see that there was traffic assistance on Gladstone Road, and of course that means that Gladstone's looking pretty good for you, but the traffic is backed up now along JFK Drive again. So heavy traffic along Lake Cunningham eastbound toward the roundabout with Bahamar Boulevard and Gladstone Road, and westbound traffic between Prospect Ridge and Harold Road, Tawny Williams Darling Highway, and Theodore Lane. That area looking congested for you if you're heading westbound this morning. A bit of congestion westbound toward the roundabout with Prospect Ridge on the JFK side. And then further east, this looks like a roundabout on JFK, northbound on Milo Butler Highway, southbound near Providence Highway. Looking busy for you there. Milo Butler Highway, still heavy traffic for you northbound, especially near Fire Trail, the roundabout there. And it appears to be a break in the traffic there. So there might be an issue on Milo Butler Highway heading northbound this morning. Traffic picks up again just north of Harold Pond on the way to the roundabout with Tawny Williams Darling Highway. So that is an area to be careful of this morning. Heavy traffic on Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road and eastbound on Carmichael to Blue Hill Road. That area looking congested. Blue Hill near Carmichael and Soldier Road on the way to the Independence roundabout. And Soldier and East Street, that intersection looking very busy for you this morning. Soldier Road issues near Old Trail as well. Heavy traffic there and at the intersection with Prince Charles Drive and Robinson Road and on through to Bernard, Wolf, and Village Road. Heavy traffic there. And Eastern Road between San Souci and Johnson Road, as usual, heavy traffic westbound for you this morning. Those are your hot spots. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/Christmas Cash.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with you. Okay, so we're going to leave the politics behind for a little bit. We're very pleased to have with us from the AMMC, though not this time. Okay, we're gonna which one now?
Clifton Heritage
Clifton.
Park.
Okay, so I got to get it right. The titles have changed a bit. Okay, Clifton Heritage Park. All right. Christopher Davis is with us. He's also John Quad II. Sir, great to have you back with us. Give me the proper title this morning. What are we using? Who are you representing? And all the titles.
Well, I'm always going to be Nana Safahini John Quad II, a.k.a. John Canoe II. But I am now working over at Clifton Heritage Park.
Okay.
Right there on Southwest Road. I'm there as a researcher, historian, jack of all trades. And we're extremely excited for some of the projects that we have in the pipeline that are going to be popping up there at the Clifton Heritage Park.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get to that in a bit. We wanted to do this, get this out of the way, as you've been on the show a number of times, but you've also been the topic of conversation a couple of weeks back with all things SBF and FTX.
Yeah, right.
How'd you get mixed up in that? But anyway, let's talk about it. What exactly happened there? Just want to get this out of the way from your perspective. You haven't talked, I believe, about this since it made the news a few weeks ago.
Right.
But the letter, the conversations that were had between you and SBF and all of this stuff.
Well, him and I only ever had one conversation, and that was from a meeting. And I think anyone, first of all, who knows me personally, they know that first and foremost, I'm a Pan-Africanist. And I'll just speak frankly to the people. I was hearing on the road, so to speak, that these fellas invested millions and millions of dollars in Bahamian communities and Bahamian culture, and I couldn't see it. So I actually went there with the mentality of pressing these people, in a sense, to say, well, you're all willing to invest so much in culture and heritage, but where is that investment going and where is it to be seen? And essentially, knowing that they are familiar with the NFT space, and of course with my partner, Robin Lightborn, and I was functioning more so as a consultant, a kind of a safeguard of the history, heritage, and culture of the Bahamas, which is a capacity I served in at AMMC, and I continue to serve in on behalf of all Bahamians at Clifton Heritage Park. So let's make that clear. And our goal, actually, to make a long story short, was to use this NFT space to empower the cultural artisans within the Bahamas. And this is an idea that we'll even put out there. So essentially, for those who are familiar with an NFT, is a non-fungible token. They have these silly ones online with a monkey wearing shades that's selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And so to make it basic and simple, the idea was to reproduce actual Junkanoo costumes, which are all works of art, and put it on that NFT space to be sold. And also promote our culture and create this grand space. And it was something that was done to empower the shacks, the Junkanoo artisans who spend hours and hours, been doing so for over 60 years, hours and hours in the shack, and have nothing to show for it. And then we only have one or two gatekeepers of the Junkanoo community who actually can make a living from it. And this was something I found very disturbing, and that is also in line with my title as John Canoe II. So the crux of the whole thing was to empower Bahamian artists, artisans, musicians, and even if you think about it like this, NFTs are really about perks, and we wanted to tie it into both the local and tourism industry. So, Mr. Strachan, just for an example, let's say you have an auntie that they say make the best guava duff on the island, and you will have this NFT or QR code connected to this, and you could go to auntie who live in Baintown, people to people on steroids, so to speak, and do that, Now, what I do find fascinating is, of course, we see that it was scrutinized by our big brothers up there in the north, right? And they love to perpetuate this narrative of the corrupt Caribbean politician, the African, and all of that stuff. And it's very sad. And they scrutinized those things. If they wanted to, they could have published what was there, but they didn't want to make anybody look good. They didn't want to make the Prime Minister look good. They didn't want to make SPF look good. And they did not want to make Bahamians in general look good. They tried to paint this picture of him just being down here with his white privilege, living lavishly. And of course, that was a part of it. But overall, Bahamians were victims of this. However, this NFT project that was an idea of myself, Mr. Robin Lightborn, and the Junkanoo artist, a.k.a. Mario Smith, coming together. And Mario Smith was actually the forerunner of the project, who brought me in. right? So it was all about actually empowering Bahamian cultural artisans. But of course, the FBI knew that, but they wouldn't publish that part because that would be something that perhaps would have made SBF painted them in a slightly positive light, right?
So right. So it wasn't sinister. It was just something that might have actually benefited a lot of people.
Yeah, it was. And he, and like I said, we actually kind of pressed them. It was all about this effective altruism and we doing this and we doing that. And and we pretty much was like, well, and if you want to actually make an effect on Bahamian culture and all of this stuff, we the guys, maybe you should, and this what the conversation was. But then after that, everything went cold.
Yeah.
And then we received no funds, nothing like that in any way, shape, or form. It was just pretty much a good conversation where it seemed as if he was willing to make a sound investment into Bahamian culture. But then obviously all of these things went awry.
Let me ask you one thing on this.
Yeah.
Do you think that had your father not been who your father is, that you would have gotten this meeting or not gotten this meeting?
Not in the slightest at all. Like I said, we literally had one conversation in person. I've seen this man once in person in my life. Now, that conversation did go very well. The meeting did go very well, because he was a guy who was talking about all this altruism and how he wants to do this. Obviously, all that wasn't true, as we could see now, but that's the type of stuff they were talking, and we were just having this conversation to say that. But obviously, this wouldn't have blown up in that way if not for my family connections and all of that stuff. And of course, I'm sure the FBI scrutinized every single detail, every single email, and they wouldn't say what that was about. So they wouldn't say it was about bringing development into our underdeveloped African communities like Gambia Village and Adelaide. And there are people in all of these communities who could vouch for exactly what I'm saying, because we were actually going to build it from the ground up by getting the community to buy in first and then go to these big honchos and all of that with the money. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, wow. Oh, boy. All right. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. We've got a couple things we're going to be talking about. I mentioned it earlier in the show that you're going to be going back to Ghana. We'll get to that in a bit. But now you're at Clifton. Let's talk about your work there, what you're going to be doing.
Well, there's so much going on. I don't even know where to begin. But you may have heard people from the Ministry of Education talking about new curriculums and things of that are coming out. And so what we hope to see at Clifton, or we will be seeing at Clifton, is Clifton in itself will probably become like a giant museum, right? And there's a lot of projects that we have in the pipeline that I'm not at liberty to expound on too much. But I will tell you that we will definitely be going in a more Afrocentric vein. Stories of William Wiley being a benevolent slave master, those stories are over now. He used to work those people for 16 hours a day, and he was just a shrewd strategist that was able to empower a few blacks to be a buffer between him and the other blacks. Boy, certain things don't change, but anyway.
Wow.
So, right, and it's also connected to the Wileys, the Rosses, the Mosses, the Johnsons, several other Bahamian families, and we have some quite profound stories that will make Bahamians extremely proud, that will be married into this new curriculum that is all about improving the mental and educational welfare, at least in the subjects of history, social studies, geography, biology, because Clifton is not just about heritage, it's also about natural conservation. It's all, you could come out there and do bird watching. My first day out there, I saw a pod of dolphins. So it's actually paradise, and it's like almost the last vestige of paradise, despite it being so close to the power plant. I still kind of see it as this last vestige of paradise that's left on New Providence.
Okay, so incorporated in the curriculum, I'm sure you know that people are going to say, why is this important? We need to look to the future. What are we looking at the old stuff for? How's that going to help anybody?
Well, let's look at us as the Bahamas, a nation. Let's look at us as a person, right? And we are still a very young nation, but if you look at it from the perspective of colonization, we're actually a very old nation, the oldest one, because we're the first one that came here. So you have this 500-year-old body, right? And now from the last 50 years, 1/10 of that. So 90% of your history has been in abject slavery and all of these things. So you have, of course, trauma. So you as a grown man now, Dwight, if you don't deal with the traumas of your childhood, what will happen? Will you ever be able to function? No, never.
Not fully.
And so for me, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's something that you call cognitive dissonance. And I will even take it a step further. that most people of African descent, we have this inkling deep within us that something is not right and something is not wrong. And it's almost like you have this monumental task in front of you that you continue to ignore. So for those who make it seem like you holding on to something and going back, it's just absolutely thing. And, the quote Garvey, the most famous one, a tree without its roots, it's pretty much worthless, to paraphrase him, I should say.
Yeah.
And this is, in my opinion, at the crux of many of our problems. I see a role. I saw a murder a few years ago where a role killed another role. Don't mean that they family, but if they know what's happening in Exuma on the role plantation, I'm sure maybe they would view each other differently. Yeah.
Tell us more about that. Give us some more examples on why.
So one of the things we're going to focus on at Clifton Heritage Park is resistance to slavery in the Bahamas, right? So we've been told this lie that Bahamians are very passive. This is actually a common parallel throughout smaller nations in the Caribbean, even in Trinidad. Even though they had a whole coup in 1992, there's still this narrative that, Trinidadians, we too passive. Bahamas, same thing. Antigua, same thing. Even parts of Jamaica, the same thing. When in actuality, all Africans fought consistently in various ways, right? So I'll just focus on one person, Boatswain Griffin, a.k.a. Boatswain Wiley. He ran away with his entire immediate family and his brother and his wife and their children. And they ran away from the Wiley plantation in Clifton in 1820 and took a route along Carmichael Road, which was then headquarters before James Carmichael Smith came around. It existed before he came, right? Adelaide existed before they named it after the governor. Gambia existed before they named it after the governor. You get it? Now, and he went and he took refuge on Meeting Street in Sambo Scriven's meeting house, which is now Bethel Baptist Church, which was the proverbial finish line of the Saltwater Underground Railroad, right? So I ain't gonna expound too much on it, but this fella did this with his entire family, and they were away for almost a year. In the end, William Wiley, the so-called benevolent planter, sold him to Henry Moss, the most infamous enslaver, one of in the entire Caribbean. And this is where he lived out the rest of his days until the end of slavery. And I can stop it right there, but I will just end it with this. Boatswain Wiley also played a crucial role in the most famous slave ship revolt in history, known as the Amistad.
Really?
Yeah, so we got to come to the park to find out and ask for Chris to find out some more, to find out how the Bahamas was involved in the Amistad slave ship revolt.
All right, this is a story many people have never heard of.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why are we ashamed, or we have been trained?
We've been conditioned, right, to then feel ashamed of certain aspects, right? And then you have these gatekeepers. Let's use the history of John Canoe as an example. We had this narrative. It's always a narrative that kind of pushes credit to Britain, right? And you see all of these stories in the early 20th century about governments and colonial governments and mayors allowing John Canoe to happen. See it in the Bahamas too. So there's this famous article like in the late 1950s of how the government, they bring John Canoe back, but they ain't talk about the general strike. See, John Canoe was banned after the Burma Road uprising in 1942 off of Bay, and it was brought back to Bay as a result of our general strike. So this is radical revolutionary actions being carried out by Bahamians. And in these uprisings, people died, by the way. That's another thing. So we have just been conditioned. Now, when you look at where the Bahamas is, we are actually surrounded by three quintessential examples. So you have the United States, where Africans are the minority. You have Haiti, who won and freed themselves and paid dearly for it and still paying dearly for it. Then, of course, you have Cuba, who had a class socialist revolution that is also inextricably linked to race, right? And here we are, this tiny, tiny nation in the middle of all of this, and so it's almost like we were forced to conform and say, hey, well, we ain't like them. And to this day, you still hear people saying, well, we ain't a part of the Caribbean, so it's actually within our fabric. And unfortunately, we overlook exactly what happened to us and our ancestors, not just in the Bahamas, but globally. And so what we do is we make these very myopic, sweeping generalizations today that actually hold no credence. And it essentially ends with us justifying and even blaming ourselves for what amounts to our own genocide.
Wow, I want you to expand on that because, this is playing out every day. You can see that in everything that's going on in the country. The psychological toll this is taking on the Bahamian people.
Certainly. So even at Clifton, right, when they were initially doing Clifton Park, when Clifton was being established, right, there's a story about William Wiley You know, he is one of the main people they prop up on this pedestal as this, benevolent planter. A big problem too is we have been kind of duped into thinking that our slave masters are in fact the patriarchs of our family. This is the part that gets. So I actually had
Many people are very proud of these names.
Oh yeah. You see, so let me call a common one. The Clarks, right, from Exuma. And they like to talk about Margaret Clark. She was a mulatto slave owner. She owned 58 enslaved people at the end of slavery. She was one of the biggest, quote-unquote, black slave owners. Now, first and foremost, this is where he's talking about how we take these myopic views. So there's actually, and I can call the man name, Whittingham Johnson has been one of the historians who has actually perpetuated these myths. So he wrote a book about race relations in the Bahamas, the non-violent transition from slave society to free society. And you can see just in the title of that book where the problem arises. Another article that was done is where he focuses on the 6% of quote-unquote black slave owners in the Bahamas, right? And using that to say, oh, you're always hearing that, right? But what they don't tell you is 95% of those quote-unquote black slave owners had white fathers. And in the Bahamas to this day, it ain't white, it's white enough, isn't it? So if you would have gone to more than half of those quote-unquote black slave owners using the 21st century definition, half of them would spit in your face and tell you, I'm not black. Just as the Conky Joe from Long Island, who clearly have some African in them, will tell you the same thing, I'm not black. You understand? And so it's something that's quite complex. And back to the surname thing. So what people have to realize is 80%, more than 80% of the Bahamas population were enslaved. So you are phenotypically African, and thus am I. There's also this narrative of, even my own grandfather told me that we were never enslaved. And it's not true. You understand? So when you think about genetics, you have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-great-grandparents, 16 great-great-grandparents. That's 4 generations. So we're talking 8 generations back, which is about 256 people that make you. You understand what I said? So to say, I descend from no slave, no, that one line maybe, you understand? But certainly. So we have to get out of these things, and it's this cognitive dissonance of trying to make it seem like it's better in the Bahamas. And it's very much conducive and married to our culture of tourism, which began since the early 1800s, before that man Stafford Sands was even born. You understand? And it then, I would say, devolved into us kind of watering down our culture to make our guests more comfortable. Now, 100 years ago, you could see why that was done. The world was extremely racist then, but I could tell you, as someone who's been on the front lines of tourism for about 10 years now, that even whites now, they want to hear this real story. So they approach me all the time, be like, why the hell is Queen Victoria's statue there? And Queen Victoria is on the same level as Adolf Hitler. Numerically, she has killed more, responsible for more deaths than all of World War II, just her. 30 million people starved to death during her Raj Empire in India, just from her exporting all their rice. I wouldn't even begin to talk about South Africa and all of that. And to segue into another point, one of her her colonial official consorts was Rawson W. Rawson, who Rawson Square is named after.
Oh my.
So this is the man that went to South Africa and helped establish the Rio Tinto Diamond Company. And he is also the man that wrote the document that then went into the establishment of the so-called Indian schools in Canada. As we now see, for the last 200 years, they've been committing the worst atrocities up until the 1990s. This is the man who Rawson Square is named after, simply because he was the colonial governor when they built the square. No other reason. So I say let's name that square after John Canoe the First, because that's where we carry on bad in John Canoe. That's where everybody wants to sit. Let's name that after John Canoe. It's like we're afraid to do these things, and that's this government and successive governments. When it comes to history, heritage, and culture, it's no bending for me, And why not name that square after John Canoe? What's the fear? What's the problem?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have so many gatekeepers that have made this conservative mindset a part of their actual being. So when you talk about how John Canoe fought against slavery and beheaded British and Dutch governors for enslaving and raping his people don't want to hear that. We want to hear good stories about the British and how the British do all of that. And another thing, when people say the British freed the slaves, it is absolutely stupid. stupid. If I kidnap you, Dwight, who have to release you? Who has to release you? It is the dumbest thing I have ever heard, you know? So we have to stop all of these things. And what we have to realize is all of these things go back to vindicating the enslaver and the colonizer and placing blame on the African.
We'll get to the conference that you're doing in Ghana in a bit, but the names, a lot of people, we seem like we're split down the middle in dealing with these old names and these statues, know what to do with them. But I don't know if people are aware of all of those that are tied to the histories that you just mentioned, like Ross. And what else? Give us some that would shock some people.
Well, Queen Victoria again, so when you look at Cecil John Rhodes, and recently we just had a Rhodes Scholar. Congratulations to him, by the way. I think his last name is Sanzi. I can't remember, but I saw it right in the Guardian paper, So congratulations to him, And I will even segue this to, let me just say how much I love Cynthia Mother Pratt as well, right? However, the Rhodes Scholarship, who was that named after? Cecil John Rhodes.
Yeah.
Cecil John Rhodes, again, is in the same category as King Leopold II, who was in the Congo, the same category as Hitler, the same category as Mao, same category as Stalin. Yet in their former British colonies, the British have been so masterful in their propaganda, we actually praise our enslavers. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to call no names. I even spoke to a professor who teaches at our university, and he or she was talking about the silver lining in slavery, because, if it wasn't for that, we'd have been stuck in Africa, and, Africa so this and Africa so that.
It's a recent conversation?
Oh, yeah, about a year ago.
Wow.
About a year ago,
Okay.
And she's a professor. He or she, I should say, is a professor. And I was pretty much like, I was like, you realize millions and millions and millions of people died in all of this, including the indigenous population of the Bahamas.
Yeah.
So if anything, we should be leading the front lines in this canceling of Christopher Columbus, if you will. Now, back to Cecil John Rhodes, this man is responsible for the death of minimum 50 million Africans, minimum. And that's just an attempt to match South Africa, to make South Africa the British colony, and have a long stretch of unbreakable British colonies that stretch all the way to Egypt. Winston Churchill, the so-called hero of World War II, this is where racism and stuff, and this is not even acknowledged, because Winston Churchill is a hero because of his role in World War II. But they don't tell you about the river war that he fought in Sudan, where he wrote in his autobiography bragging about killing 40,000 Africans in one night. You see, so we have lost sight of what has actually happened to us and what has continued to happen to us. And the only people who could step in that arena with us is the indigenous American. And I feel that we are both in the same boat, and it's more of a indigenous people's movement now, you understand?
Right.
Of course, with Africans kind of at the crux of it. And so Queen Victoria, again, there's actually, I'll put it out there, there's a documentary called Racism, A History. So Racism, semicolon, A History. It's a 3-part documentary. The first part is called The Color of Money. It talks about the banking system. And I could go even further. So even our modern banking system. That's let me be careful with this one. But let's point at some of our banks that are here right now, especially the one that over the last few years been calling us dumb and saying, well, we ain't educated enough, and you gotta those same ones, right, from a certain place up north. All of those are connected to the Halifax Banking Company. The Halifax Banking Company was founded in the mid-1800s, right? Enos Collins, a man named Enos Collins, was the main investor in that. And he at the time was the richest man in Canada. But how did he become the richest man in Canada? So he tried the slave trading thing, and he didn't have the stomach for it. The only slave trading voyage he actually made was 9 people that he took to Exuma. Yeah, so you see the Bahamas is very much mixed into global history, but we have this fishbowl mentality, things so much better here. That man, what he did, how he was so wealthy, he caught at North Atlantic cod. And he gathered that up and salted that and sent that to the Caribbean to feed the enslaved populations. Now, let me ask you, what's the national dish of Jamaica?
Ackee and codfish.
What's the national dish of Barbados?
The flying...
Right, the flying fish, but they also have the one with the saltfish. Antigua.
Right.
They have Bojal even, a Carib dish in Trinidad, saltfish based. So this man became the richest man in Canada from selling food to the slave master. And it's the remnants of that is still felt today, because the fish the national fish, the national dish of Jamaica, that fish is not caught in the Caribbean. It's caught in Canada. And that is what made Enos Collins the richest man. And the Halifax Banking Company is the progenitor of almost every single Canadian bank.
Wow.
Especially the ones that are here.
Wow. Very interesting stuff. All right, so we're going to get to what's happening in Ghana. Let's take this call really quickly. We're talking with Christopher Davis, Jean-Claude II. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Dwight Strachan, good morning.
Hi.
To Mr. Davis, very impressed with the wealth, the super wealth of information that he's sharing here, you know.
Thank you, sir.
Many of us are in our 50s and 60s, and, you know, one thing about life, what I've realized is no matter how old you are, there's still many things still yet to learn because no one knows everything.
Certainly.
I'm actually calling to say this information that you're sharing, you know, it's so sad that our curriculum does not even in any way, shape, or form, even touch human history in the manner that it should. Now, maybe at UB, they may be doing it, but in our schools, where it should really be taught, it is not in the curriculum.
Right.
I've learned some stuff just now from you that I didn't even know. All right?
You.
And this now, you're talking about the history of the country. This is why part of the reason why many of us say we don't even know what our true identity really is in this country.
Right. It's true. It's
because
true.
We don't know where we actually come from. And I too also was one of those persons sharing, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
that we got our names from a lot of the plantation owners here in the Bahamas.
Right.
And,
We did get them from them, but by force, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. You know, by force.
But to hear you put it in the way that you did, it actually gives my mind an opportunity to look at things from a different perspective.
Yes, sir.
And I think this is so important. I mean, we right now, and I'll close on this, Dwight. I often ask the average person, you know, what really makes you a Bahamian? We don't even have a true, I hear some people say junkanoo, some people say some other stuff. But we don't have a true definition of what really makes us a Bahamian.
Right. Well,
you know, and so I must encourage you.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't written your memoirs,
Yes,
don't
sir.
go into the grave with this information. Bring this information out so many of us who are still alive
Yes, sir.
can still learn some of the truth.
Well, he has
And
a
our
fascinating
own-
book. So
yes, I have a
plug your book, Chris.
I have a book that I released in February, actually called Black Rinse: A History of New Perspectives on the History of the African Diaspora in the Bahamas, and I think that would be right up your alley. You can actually get that book at Pompey Museum, any of AMMC sites. You know, so I want to make it clear that even though I'm not with AMMC anymore officially, that that relationship is still there. Me and Dr. Curry still have maintained great decorum, and he's still a very important mentor of mine. And he also did the foreword of my book. Now, you could go and get that book, or you can come out to Clifton if you could make it way out there, and you could get
My
a copy
brother,
of
I'm a man. I love driving my island. I would come out there and I'll get it.
Okay. Yes, and that's
Wonderful.
right
Okay.
there, and everything you need. Yeah. But in terms of that, and just to throw a little shade out there, chapter 3 is called the Bukra and the Conky Joe. Yeah, you know, so Bukra being the old word that we use to describe Europeans. But when people read that chapter, it's actually a unifying chapter. If you could make it to the end. But for those of us of African descent, it's an easy read, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. So I will make it my mission to come out there today
sir.
and see if I can get a copy of the book.
Yes, sir.
Because, you know, I'm an avid reader and I enjoy reading about the history of my country.
Yes, sir.
I love reading about the history of where we came from as a people.
Yes, sir.
How our names were derived in this country.
Yes, sir.
And so on and so forth. Okay.
Right.
So thank you so much for your contribution this morning. Totally enjoying your contribution. I'll continue to listen. God bless you.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
God
you.
bless you, Dwight.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. One more call, and we got to get back to what we're talking about. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Good morning. Hi.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Smoky, I'm so glad to listen to this gentleman. You know, it takes me back, Dwight, to myself and to your guest, where we got this colloquial saying, we mix them just like Kong salad.
Yeah.
you wonder where things like that come from. And if you really think about the Kong salad bowl, just about everything in there,
right?
What we eat when it comes to seafood, other than the fish. But then conch is sort of a sea fish too, or snail, whatever they call it. But you know, Dwight, it takes me back to myself growing up, remembering from 4 years old where I came from, born in Chippenham, from my skin, they would call it Dwight.
Yeah.
One time ago, Dwight, they used to call me white boy. Because I grew up in the area with a bunch of black people, but my family were mixed.
Right.
So I was born in Chippenham, then we moved to West Street, Adley Street, West Street, right next to Valentine's Grand, on the south side of the bottom of the hill. Right. But then my grandparents and them lived up on the top of the hill. They used to call them the hilltoppers up by St. Francis there. They would call my grandpa and them the hilltoppers, and most of the hilltoppers, from what I remember, they used to act or appear to be like the white people, the County Joes.
Right.
and then as I moved from West Street into the valley, going to Eastern Senior, they used to call me the bright boy. Going from the white to the bright boy. And then as I moved to Government High, I became the County Joe boy.
All right.
So I've been changing these colors, and then as I grew up in the valley, I started calling myself a black boy because all my friends were black.
Yes, sir. Well, if you was in Sweden, they'd call you black for sure. If you go to Sweden right now, they can call you black.
That's right. When I listen to my family's name is the Fountain, which is Fontaine from France with the E on the end.
Yep.
In the Bahamas, they just call it Fontaine, F-O-U-N-T-A-I-N.
Interesting. Pre-loyalists.
From France, it was Fontaine with E. And then on the other side of my mother, it was the Puch. And from France, that's the Prey. And then from what I gathered, they came down from France, either as black from African French, or slaves, into Haiti, or they also went into New Orleans, and also up into New York. I don't know if you remember when we had the boat race in the harbor one time ago. There was a fella came down there with the Fountain's yachts. There's a fountain in New Orleans that I met over Paradise Island. He would go away. He had his own helicopter with Fountain on it. His race boat was Fountain on it. And his yacht was parked over Hurricane Old with Fountain on it. And I asked him who he is. He said he owns a yacht building company down in New Orleans, but all of them is fountains.
Right.
And then there's the Prey, which is the Puch. And then the men's is from Exuma. But when I get a picture, my grandfather in my front room right now, Harold Jackson Fountain was a black man. I mean a black man, but my grandmother from Exuma, who is George Smith's aunt from Georgetown, she's a white woman. So the mix of the council look like it started around in there with the fountain.
Man, it's not like we his family, man. But anyway, I can answer. I have one or two comments too. You know, that's very interesting.
Thanks, Sparky.
And particularly how Sparky, that's a very important thing that he said. How when he went to this community, he was white boy. How he went to this community, he was this, he was that. You know, so race in the Bahamas is actually quite unique. You know, and I don't know if you heard my comment, and I was like, and if you went to Sweden or Norway, they can call you black. You know, straight up, there ain't no in between with that, right? But again, this is where race is actually so important, and we kind of overlook it. Now back to the kind of attachment to the slave master thing. You know. It's something that is very sinister, and it's not unique to the Bahamas. You know, you see it all over the Caribbean, particularly in smaller nations, right? And there's this because at the end of the day, it don't matter how you shape it.
Yeah.
Don't matter how good we get. Don't matter how rich Dwight gets, or no matter how rich Chris gets. At the end of the day, within this system, we will still be colonized people.
Yeah.
You understand?
I think I told you the last time you were on the show that, you know, people used to say, oh, Strachan, yeah, the Scottish name. And like,
right.
What does that mean to me?
Well,
what does that mean to me?
Absolutely nothing. Well, I think I did touch on it last time. It's in my book. Right. And right. So you have the Strachan's, the Pattons, the Tynes, the Butlers. They are all kind of rooted in Ramkey, right? More so than Kid Island with the Strachan's, by the way. Right. I know the Kid Island people may get mad at me, but facts is facts. It's actually Ramkey. That's where the big plantation was and all of that, right? And actually, that plantation where Port Nelson is right now, which was kind of owned through the intermarriages between those families, particularly the Strachan's and the Pattons. And there was also a link to Long Island through David Strachan, James Strachan. And then you typically hear the story. Listen to the story. And I'll bet you every minute, you have the three brothers who come, and then
Right.
So those three brothers were typically slave owners who owned plantations on different islands. And this is the case with the Strachan's and almost every other quote-unquote black Bahamian family. Now that plantation was nicknamed Mountain Misery. You know. So there's also this narrative of slavery being easier in the Bahamas. And when you think about it, the Loyalists was when the Loyalists arrived, this is when slavery ramped up. Before the Loyalists came, 40% of blacks were enslaved, and the population was like half and half. Afterwards, the population ratio went from like 9 to 2, black to white, and eventually over 90% of those blacks were enslaved, and over 75% of the total population of the Bahamas. So let's take it back to Margaret Clark again and bring in Exuma. So you have Margaret Clark, that's one person. Then she had 58 enslaved people, most of whose surnames were Clarks. So is it more likely that you're descended from the 1 out of 58? You understand? It's a 1 out of 58 chance that you're descended from Margaret Clark. But it's a 57 out of 58 chance that you're descended from one of the enslaved people that she owned. And these are the harsh realities that we have to deal with, you know? And this is, in my opinion, one of the things that not only holds us back as a nation, but it causes this gap of unity and camaraderie between us because we don't acknowledge the struggle that we all share.
Yeah. Wow. This texter here says, your guest's narrative makes a good narrative for the colonizers. However, is your guest willing to share the facts that black tribe leaders captured their own people to sell to white people for profit?
Love it.
When will he tell that story?
Oh, I'll tell that story all day. And if you buy my book, that is actually the crux of the entire thing. And I actually touched on that earlier in the show. So let's just do this. Let's take a step back, take a deep breath. Isn't it amazing how Africans are the only people blamed for their own genocide? Because the transatlantic slave trade was not a trade, it was a genocide. So let's first of all define it, what it was. It was a genocide. In all genocides, what you have are people who you only survive it in 3 ways. You run, you fight, or you conform. The only 3 ways, you see? And the problem is, they have been so successful in diminishing the humanity of Africans that we automatically place the blame on Africans for their own genocide. So that's number one. Number two, this texter is doing the typical mistake of vindicating the slave master and trying to place blame on Africans. Because let's be real, how many languages in Nigeria? Over 300 languages are in Nigeria. Ukraine fighting Russia right now. They speak the same language. They pray to the same Nordic Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? Same Latin ciphers they use in their alphabet. And in Nigeria, you have 300 distinct languages, and I wouldn't even talk about the writing scripts. Yet, because they all have the same skin color, he blankets all of them and say, black people enslaving other black people and whites. But when Europeans fight, no one says, well, look at Ukraine, Russia, look at these white people, look at the European against the Europe. No one says that. Why? Because you respect their diversity and you acknowledge their diversity. So when a Yoruba and a Fawn go against each other, that's not 2 Africans or 2 black people. Those are distinct cultural groups, number one. Now, number 3, and this is the ugliest part that people don't consider. With any genocide, let's look at the most famous one, the Holocaust during World War II, of which way more than 6 million Jews were actually slaughtered. It's more closer to 7 or 8 million, actually. But they don't consider the Sephardic Jews, but that's for another day, right? Now, but in this genocide, right, widespread, most well-known genocide, you had the Romanis, right, the Romani gypsies who were also slaughtered. Then you had the citizens of Romania, the citizens of Austria, the citizens of Finland, Switzerland, who claimed to be neutral but was working with the Nazis. Why don't we blame any of those nations that conformed to the Nazis for the Jewish Holocaust? There was a group called the Judenrat, who were Jews who were recruited into the SS, whose purpose was to go out and find other Jews for them. These are facts. You understand? So what people don't realize, see, we like to stay in our modern time and our high pedestal. That's just like right now, Dwight. Africans were in acute survival mode, and that is not considered. And so we have stupid, myopic texts like this, where people, it's crazy to me. Like when you really think about it, it's crazy. Someone coming here right now and hold me and you at gunpoint and say one of us have to die. I have kids, I like you, but I try to make sure you're the one that died. And this was the attitude that happened. Now, bringing it closer to home, let's talk about Nana Safahini Jankwa first. When even the oral history in Africa claimed that he was the one that built the fort, the German fort, when that's not even true. When he was a child, the Dutch and the British came and wiped out Princess Town completely. One person survived. It happened on 3 occasions, and John Quao even witnessed his mother being ravaged and taken into slavery and stuff like that. You understand? Then the people of Princess Town, who are our people, this is where the first slave ship came from, so this us. We ain't talking about other people, we talking about us, right? They then went to the Germans and said, listen, build the fort so that we could protect ourselves from the other slaves. People just really are completely ignorant of what was going on. Completely. And furthermore, I will close on this because I deal with facts. Go on Google, anybody. There is a document called Capture. You have hundreds, perhaps thousands of examples of Africans who wrote about their lives, who were captured, experienced slavery, the whole nine. Hundreds of them. Most of them say they were physically captured by Europeans, where the Europeans would come in with a scorched earth policy in West Africa. Everybody's starving, you can't grow, they poisoning river supplies and stuff like that, and then they pulling up with their boat with fresh water. These are the type of techniques they used to use. So download that document, Capture, and then look at the nuance of how Africans were actually captured. Instead of talking foolishness on this radio, and it cost me cuss on my Big Brother show. And, you know, yeah.
Don't do that, Chris.
Right, of course not. And if you want to learn more, discuss it more, of course, you can join us out at Clifton. But we are taking this on non-apologetic stance within this. Now, and then last and not least, when you look at it economically, which is what it was all about, economics, who benefited? Show me one African group that benefited economically from the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah.
And I will show you London, I will show you Liverpool, I will show you Manchester, I will show you Naples and Italy and all. They had Italian slave owners in the Bahamas, the Scavellas. See, we just like to avoid the problem and not face what's really going on. And it's easier for us to blame ourselves for our own genocide than to face the monumental task that is in front of us.
Wow.
So that's all that text is.
This is fascinating stuff. All right, so we only have a few more minutes. Tell us about what's going to be happening in Ghana. This is next week, right?
Right, next week. So I'm going officially to represent the Bahamas under the auspices of Clifton Heritage Park. Extremely grateful to be doing so. I'm going to be presenting. Now, there's an outside chance that I might be presenting digitally, but the plan right now is for me to actually be there in person. There are 6 presenters on Junkanoo, and I'm the only one from the Bahamas. As a matter of fact, we have to do better in writing about our heritage and culture because Jamaicans have written more about Junkanoo than anybody else, even though it's just a fleeting celebration among the Maroons in their community. Oh, yeah.
Why do you think that is?
It's the same things we're talking about now. That text just now. Just another excuse not to identify with Africa. I actually think I know who that text came from. It's a certain guy who always following me around. He's not black. Let's just put it that way. You know what I mean? And he always has that thing, and I always have to answer the question in the same way. But it's absolutely ridiculous.
But a lot of black people speak like that as well, though.
Oh, yeah, they do, certainly. Yeah. And we have been convinced and duped into thinking that we were, in fact, responsible for our own genocide. Again, we just have lost complete sight. Now, back to Ghana. Next week, December 5th, is when I'll be presenting on Junkanoo, the history of it, the resurrection of Junkanoo, and the spirit of Junkanoo is the name of my paper. It's actually 2 papers, one of which is very extensive, 35 pages long, and one is a lot shorter. And in a nutshell, I'm here to tell people this, that this man that we know as Junkanoo was one of the greatest warriors in West African history, whose influence stretched all the way down to the Congo. I have found out so much more about him, by the way. And since I've been doing this research, other people have now begun to write about him. Special mention to Angela Sutton, who wrote a book about piracy in West Africa, of which Junkanoo is the main protagonist, talking about how he was working with Blackbeard and Black Bart to disturb the British economy and all of these things, you know. So this is why he's a hero. And of course, the Bahamas has a special connection to Princess Town, which is the village where he's from. His fort is still there. The ruins of his palace and his mansion is still there, as well as the wall, right? And we encourage people to go there and visit, and it's all centered around there. And we have this special connection with Princess Town because the first 2 slave ships that came to the Bahamas brought Africans, the Ahanta people to be more specifically, to that region. And to touch on it too, the Ahanta people, by the way, have a 300-year history of fighting against the transatlantic slave trade, ending with Badu Bantu II, a.k.a. the Great Whale, who was cruelly beheaded by the Dutch in 2 weeks before British emancipation. Beheaded by the Dutch. His remains were then sent to the Lehman Medical Institute, and then it was found in 1979, ironically, near The Hague. You know, so yeah, we have all these mixed-up things, and I don't have no time for nobody who's not trying to point the arrow of blame, if you will, in the right direction. But the point of the Africans is absolutely sad, and it's an insult. And when you pass on, I hope you will be able to answer for it to your ancestors.
Wow. My goodness. All right, so you got a lot going on. Any more books you're going to be working on?
Several. There's a Clifton publication coming out. 50 Unsung Revolutionary Heroes of the Bahamas, authored by me personally and under the auspices of Clifton Heritage Park, tied into the curriculum. I can't say too much. Maybe you would want to invite some people from MOE to talk about it more.
Okay.
But all of this talk about the curriculum, it is happening. I am on the front lines of that project as well. And hopefully by next year, September, we will have a more robust and truthful curriculum that will seek not only to inspire and educate, but to unify us as a nation.
And again, remind people about the book, Black Rinse, where people can find it.
Black Rinse, Clifton Heritage Park, Pompey Museum, Fort Charlotte, Fort Fincastle. You can
all those locations have
all
it?
those
Yep.
locations have it. Doongalik Studios as well. Yeah, you can get the book there, and there's more publications coming out as well. And of course, you can always come and see me at the Clifton Heritage Park, where I'm based now. It's a long drive, but I'll make it worth your while.
What are the hours, the days?
Every day we're open, Monday to Sunday, 8:30 to 4:30. For those bringing kids over, I won't put too much on my sister plate, but we have people like Patricia Pettikin, just absolutely outstanding. And even since I've been working there, I've been learning a lot from her, particularly in teaching the young kids, because, I like to get a little academic and it's just go over the kids' head, and she helped me with that. We have Mrs. Vernica Pratt and also Miss Benson, two tour guides who will be there and happy to take you on the Heritage Tour. We got Mr. Javon Knowles and others down there at the snorkel site, where we have one of the only underwater exhibits, like with Luca. It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
And then you have dolphins out there, where they filmed the first Flipper movie in 1963 and the one in 1996.
Wow.
So for the younger people, they might not know, and then the plane that was used in the James Bond movie. Remember that scene? That's right there at Clifton Heritage Park too. Wow. And that's a part of the snorkeling tour, bird watching, bush medicine, real Bahamian culture. And we throw in shade on the loyalists. So.
And the trails and everything.
Trails, hiking trails. And we have excellent tour guides, excellent staff, And it's all, under the great leadership of people like Mr. Mario Bannister, Miss Cynthia Cox, and others. And if I forget anyone name, please forgive me. Don't chew me out too much, But it's just a really great space out there. And it'll be a real good breath of fresh air for any Bahamian seeking culture, or even just seeking a break from it all. You come out there for a day with your family, you could have a nice break from it all,
Excellent stuff.
Yes, sir.
Christopher Davis, John Quad II, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For
Always
talking
a
with us
pleasure,
this morning.
Yes, sir.
People saying we need to have you on at least once a month.
Well, talk to the boss. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to take a break for news and be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's a Christmas wish for all of you. Get a no-fee loan from RBC. It's true.
This Christmas, your wish could come true with a no-fee loan from RBC. You have 5 chances to win up to $5,000 Christmas cash.
It's a Christmas wish for all of you. Get a no-fee loan from RBC. It's true.
Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/Christmas cash. Subject to normal lending criteria. Conditions apply.
Let me ask you a few questions. What's your name?
Pam.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Is your money safe?
It's under my bed, so I guess so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why?
Unless your money is in a bank or credit union that's a member of the Deposit Insurance Corporation, there's no guarantee it's safe.
Yeah, but what if something happens to the bank?
Your Bahamian dollar deposits are insured up to $50,000, so you'd still be ahead. Plus, your mattress might catch fire. Then what?
Man, those banks and credit unions are looking good right about now.
Visit the DIC's website at www.dic.bs. Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
Cashmas is here at Percy's Island Game. 78 winners, $250,000 in cash and prizes, and a grand prize of $50,000 in cash. And there's more! 7-day Caribbean and Alaska cruises, 7-day trips to New York, Las Vegas, and London, TVs, iPads, cell phones, and 3 brand new 2023 Toyotas. Enter to win each time you deposit $20 on your verified account at the only place with the cash, the cruises, the toys, the trips, and the cars this Cashmas, and that's Percy's Percy's Island Game.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together. And we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations. We're with you on this journey for every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
This Christmas, open the door and smile with Colgate-Palmolive's holiday promotion for a chance to win 50-inch 4K smart TVs, Lenovo 15-inch laptops, and Samsung Galaxy S21s. Promotion runs from October 19th to December 17th, 2023. Purchase any two Colgate-Palmolive products. Brands include Colgate, Ajax, Palmolive, Speed Stick and Lady Speed Stick, Irish Spring, Suavitel, Fabuloso, and soft soap at your favorite grocery store or pharmacy. WhatsApp a picture of your receipt with your name and telephone number to 558-0659.
What would you do with extra cash? Plan a trip.
Overhaul my wardrobe.
With CIBC First Caribbean, you can get comfy with savings on your mortgage cost. Buy or build your home or switch your mortgage to us and get up to US $1,000 off the loan application fee. Up to US $2,000 off home insurance. With up to US $10,000 towards switching costs, your pockets will be comfy too. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/get comfy for more information. Conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Use your Scotia credit card and use it to enjoy those amazing deals in-store or online. You could be one of 5 lucky winners from a jackpot of $1,000 with any purchase of $120 or more from November 23rd to the 28th. Don't have a Scotia credit card yet? Apply today for a Scotiabank credit card online at bs.scotiabank.com or visit any Scotiabank branch. The more you shop, the more chances you have to win. Learn more at bs.scotiabank.com. Conditions apply.
Deck the halls with paint from Kelly's House and Home. Shop early for all your paint supplies during the holiday fix-up sale now through December 24th. Save 25% on house and spray paint and 20% on paint supplies, except on net items. Our selection of paint colors is a delightful way to spread holiday cheer throughout your home. From December 1st through 24th, we're open Mondays through Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Shop Kelly's Holiday Paint Sale going on now. Happy holidays from Kelly's House and Home.
There's a new electric vehicle in town. The Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans. Available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pub behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Have you heard of Janae's Monday Madness sale going on this Monday only? Buy 2 of the same decoration items at the best Christmas selections and prices in town and get the third one free. Yes, free. Restrictions apply. Trees, lighted angels, Santas, ornaments, lights, mesh, picks, and more. But don't forget the toys. 30% off toy purchases plus an additional 20% off if you provide a Janae's receipt for a 2021 purchase over $50. VAT excluded. Janae's Chesapeake Road Monday Madness sale. Extended store hours till 7 p.m. Hurry in and get more bang for your bucks.
Win a vacation for 2 to Sandals Resort in Jamaica using your RBC Visa credit card in the RBC Gift Yourself the Ultimate Getaway promotion. Just spend $1,500 or local equivalent. Promotion ends on December 18, 2023. Visit rbcultimategetaway.com for more details.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, November 27th, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, and this morning we are going to get details about Windsor Lakes and the open house, which is coming up in just a few days. Here to tell us all about this, very pleased to welcome from Maison, Bahamas, we have Suzanne Black and Karen Shepard. Great to have you with us. Good morning.
Great to be here. It feels like old times, Dwight.
Yeah, Suzanne, it's been a while since we've had you in the studio, but it's wonderful to see you. Glad to see that you're doing well.
Very good to see you. Thank you.
And Gary, great to have you with us.
Thank you so much. We appreciate this opportunity.
Oh,
Good morning,
indeed.
Bahamas.
Sounds very exciting here. So we'll get details about Windsor Lakes and the open house in just a bit. But tell us about Mason Bahamas. Tell us about the company. It's relatively new, right? What can you tell us about it?
Mason Bahamas was established, I think, about a year ago, 2 years now.
About 2 years.
Yeah, and we have one of the most fantastic real estate brokers who's heading that, Ryan Knowles, who used to be at H.G. Christie at one point.
Correct.
And I think he was at another one of the large establishments, and his entrepreneurial spirit kicked in, and he decided he wanted to open his own firm, which he has now done. Mm-hmm. And we have a team of about 10 persons on board, and we're looking at rocking and rolling for 2023, 2024.
Okay, wonderful. How long have you both been there?
I've been there a year, and Susan has just
maybe
began.
a few months.
Yeah, okay.
I actually, Ryan and I were at the same real estate firm previously, where he was one of the top luxury specialists. And I met him there, and he, a little while ago, asked me to join him. So I finally got there, and I must say, it's a great place to be.
Okay. All right. Wonderful stuff. All right. So Windsor Lakes. Tell us about that. What is that all about?
Windsor Lakes is just one of the most opulent, sophisticated communities coming on stream. And, you know, what we have done is put together a community that will be able to cater to our local market and persons in the professional market who are looking at upscaling their residences or looking at purchasing a lot for multifamily units. They will be able to do that in Windsor Lakes. And Windsor Lakes, we have 173 lots altogether. 37 of those are multifamily, 136 are residential, and it's 64 acres. We have 3 lakes in there, and an actual
all natural.
And not all natural, man-made.
Okay.
And
10 acres of lakes, we should add.
Oh, boy, okay.
A lot of lakes.
Yes. And so it's going to be really fantastic. It's going to have a lot of sophistication. It's going to have a lot of style. It's going to be impressive. And so we're inviting persons to come down on Saturday, December 2nd.
Exactly.
To our open house and view Windsor Lakes. It's going to be one of those enviable subdivisions that are going to come on stream for a very long time.
Yeah, and may I just add a couple of points? What I found interesting is that we take our waters here for granted, right? But if one starts to think about it, there are psychological benefits to living by water. And there is an author, and may I quickly mention, Wallace Nichols, who said that we can have blue minds. We are happier and calmer and more emotionally settled if we live by water. And the other thing is, of course, it's going to be the type of community that not only people here, but people coming in from abroad would find a nice place to visit. Location, excellent. Can walk to Adelaide Beach. Our neighbors are Albany. So I don't think you can say you can be located better than that.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, where exactly, paint the picture for us. Is it a thing you just did? How do you access it? How will you get to it?
Well, if one knows the eastern entrance to Albany, which most people do and is easy to find, it's right across the street, our entrance. So once you get there, you know, you've got the Albany security there, and Windsor Lake security would be across the street, because it is a gated community.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some of the amenities. What are some of the features of the community? What are you going to be seeing there? You mentioned the lakes already, but there's going to be a lot of other things for people to do.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to have a swimming pool, you're going to have the clubhouse, you're going to have tennis, basketball, pickleball, paddleball courts, and there are going to be lots of lush floral walking trails for persons to be able to walk around the lakes and be able to take comfortable walks during the morning, during the evening, and also we're going to have 3 parks. One will be designated for our canine lovers, for those who have dogs.
Yes, dogs are welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Dogs are welcome.
Yes, so there's a park designated specifically for dogs, and the other parks will be recreational parks for the community.
Wow. You mentioned the clubhouse. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, it's going to be extremely luxurious.
A gym, a sauna.
Yes, go ahead.
No, of course it will be staffed, but there'll be a gym, a sauna, exercise. Loud enough for you? Exercise machine.
You can get a little bit closer to the mic right there.
All right. One. I was wondering if I'm being too loud. The usual exercise, bicycles, walking machines. It'll be very, very well done. The developers are very thorough in that sort of thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So the properties, you mentioned it. Can we get to the cost of some of the lots that you have?
Yeah. Well, all right. Shall I have a go? The single family start at $205,000, and multifamilies at $325,000. There is also an opportunity if people decide they want to have a house built for them, their home built for them, that one can get into I think it's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths in the $800,000, $900,000 range, and then one can go up to 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, up to about 1.250. And the information is all on windsorlakesbahamas.com. People can view and see what it looks like. The other thing is, the horizontal, the good thing about coming on Saturday, if I may bring up Saturday again, Karen, is that the horizontal infrastructure, the roadways going in, it's nice and flat for walking. And we are going to have, we're very pleased to say, BYD electric vehicles there to tour the property. Dwight, you would have come out and joined us. There you go.
Sounds very exciting. So what size of the lots are we talking about?
The lots, residential lots, they start from like 7,000 to 14,000 for residential. And the multifamily lots start around the same 7,000 to about 9 to 10,000 square feet. Now, the multifamilies are zoned for triplex. And so you can actually have 3 units on those multifamily lots.
Right.
That's the most you can do.
Yes.
Right. I can do a duplex, I can do
and you can rent them out
Yes.
on, not overnight, but short-term rentals will be permitted, as I understand it. So it can be a good investment property. One can live in one of the units for the triplex and rent out the other 2.
Yeah. All right, so I'm on the site and I see already quite a few sold.
Yes.
How have sales been going so far?
Very well. Very well. But if I may say, being newer to the team than Karen, I'm impressed. They're a very dynamic team, very pleasant to be around. And I think people who call Maison Bahamas or email us or come out on Saturday will see that we really want to help them get the information they need. We will have 3 partners with us, 3 financial institutions, right, Karen?
Yeah.
Royal Bank, Scotiabank, and CIBC there, and they will have lending offices. So people can go and see about arranging their own financing.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, by the way, we're going to have the Icon golf carts. These are premium electronic golf carts, and both the golf carts and the electric vehicles will be available for people to have tours in. So that's a little special treat that should be rather nice.
Okay, all right.
And one of the other things I'd like to mention while we're on price is that we are now taking a $10,000 reservation deposit.
Exactly.
So persons are able to reserve their lot and of choice and be able to secure the one that preferably fits them. So that's available. And we have all the arrangements already in place for that to take place, and our attorneys are Lennox, Payton and Co.
Thanks, Peyton and Co. And people, if they come in now, Dwight, here's the key. They can almost build their own small communities out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think what one hears a lot of people say today in the Bahamas is, we're losing community. Well, if you come out and you bring your friends and colleagues,
okay, I was gonna ask you
you
what you
can
meant.
build your own community.
Right.
Right? And there's the option to do it now, but people need to come out Saturday and make sure they get the spaces that they want, the lots that they want.
And we will be offering some incentives, but they're surprises, so they need to come out
Yes,
and
we
see
can't
the
tell you
surprise.
everything, Dwight.
All right, so I'm looking in the map.
Right.
And I take it the red is sold already.
That is
so a
correct.
lot of the
The red is
lakefront stuff is already going.
That is
oh boy.
Yes.
So you got to hurry up. You got to hurry.
But we
before
still
it's
have
out
some,
there. You still
because
have
remember, 3 lakes
Mm-hmm.
and 10 acres of lakes.
Okay. All right. So this person's asking. You mentioned the 3 banks though, but they're asking, do you offer in-house financing for the single and multi-lot?
No,
lots?
we're not doing in-house in-house
No,
financing.
we work
at the
through our
moment.
financial partners.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. And what was the other question here? I can't understand that one. Okay. Well, continue to text us 422-4796. All right. So, you're going to be building any of the homes yourselves? I mean, you mentioned it that you could get a package, but will there be homes for sale at some point?
There will be homes that one can have built when one purchases a lot, so one gets a complete package. But I think, are we having external people can come in? But there is, of course, an approval process. That's to ensure that there is a quality level, and that people are positioning properly on their lots and so forth. This is the standard approach, but it ensures that communities stay upscale and the values maintained. This is very important, as you know, Dwight, in real estate today.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk about it. You mentioned it, upscale. So the lots aren't cheap. This is not right. This is upscale. But let's talk about it. We heard recently that this price market, this is where a lot of the action is. How big is luxury real estate in the Bahamas today?
Oh, I think it's very active, don't you?
It is absolutely very active right now.
Yeah.
And one thing about this community, Dwight, it's going to be eco-friendly. So you're going to have a lot of lush foliage around. You're going to have an amazing ambiance in the community. So it's going to be one that is going to be, if I may say, on par to a mini Old Fort Bay.
Oh, wow.
And so...
Yeah, that's how we're styling it, a mini Old Fort Bay, and I think that's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing, may I just say, though, as to any properties being cheap, I think it depends to whom one is speaking and so forth. But I believe that they're fairly priced when location, community, quality of life that'll be there. And, by the way, this benefits of living by the water. And I think we take the water for granted, don't you think, a little bit in our community? I mean, I read this morning, lower stress and anxiety, increased well-being and happiness, psychological, emotional, neurological brain experiences that are better for you insofar as how you feel about your life overall.
Yeah.
And it's called having a blue mind, which I found interesting. Yes.
Absolutely. All right, so this is also a fast-developing part of New Providence, is that right?
Yeah. The West is
very much so.
Building out
Very
now.
much so. Yes.
So get in while you can.
Get in while you can.
Well, for your property of choice, there's no panic thing here, except that one wants to get the positioning of the lot one would like to have. And we all have our preferences, and that's a nice thing with the development of this size.
All right, so are there going to be any limitations, any restrictions to what you can build? I know you mentioned that multifamily, it has to be 3, no more than 3.
No more than 3.
3 units. But on your lot, can I have no pool, 2 pools? Will there be anybody telling me what I can't do there?
Within reason,
You can have a pool on your property,
Yeah.
and you can build as high as 2 stories.
Exactly.
No more.
No more than 2. No.
2 stories.
Yeah. Any other things like that people need to keep in mind?
No, it's pretty comfortable that what we're doing is going to be, like I said, very impressive for persons coming in who want to upscale from where they're at now and want to move to another level, Windsor Lakes is going to provide that for them and be able to give them the opulence, sophistication, the stylish lifestyle that they're looking for.
Will the plans that you have for your home, they have to meet approval?
Well, they have, yeah. Otherwise, how can you maintain a standard to protect people who are already invested in the community? So it's in the interest of the general good of the community.
And what about fees for maintenance fees? What are we looking at there?
Maintenance fees are very reasonable, and they're starting at $300 monthly for
Right.
residential, $400
Exactly.
for multifamily.
Okay.
There
Yeah.
will be 24-hour security. And as I mentioned before, it's pet friendly, so you are available.
Now, of course, one would have to enclose a part of the property for the dogs. I mean, dogs not getting, because a lot of Bahamians I know have a concern that they go on the street, and there are the dogs everywhere. So it will be that people who wish to have animals may, but they would be expected to have an
Right.
enclosed area for them to be out in the open.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk some more about December 2nd, what's going to be having at the open house. If you want to go, do you have to sign up, or can you just show up? What do you want?
Well, it'd be nice to have people get in touch with us and let us know they're coming and how many people. That gives us an idea. But we are planning, I think, a very good crowd. We've got some very good response. We're going to have refreshments, of course. I mean, who would not have refreshments at a place like that?
You almost expected, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And what time?
12 to 4.
12 to 4.
12
Yeah,
to 4.
12 to 4.
I just want to mention, based on the horizontal infrastructure that's being placed at the moment, we're looking at having that completed by end of 2024.
Yep.
And so construction for homes will start mid-2024. So we're looking at totally completing by early 2025. So persons can get in, make their reservation deposit, secure their lot, and trust me, once we have the infrastructure going in, then that gives them increased value on their properties even before they build.
Prices will creep up, for
Yes,
sure.
prices will
Yeah.
increase. So we're definitely asking persons who are interested in having something like this in their portfolio to be able to make their reservation deposit, come down on Saturday, see what we're
Right.
offering. We have some surprises that we're going to offer to our guests coming in, and come and have some refreshments with us by the lake.
Yeah, and by the way, it's a standard approach insofar as one is not expected to come and build immediately. There is a period of time, X number of years, and it's a lot of detail to go in on the radio, but I think people will find them reasonable. And again, that protects the community. That gives people a chance to get sorted out of the plans they want and what they want to do with their lots.
Yeah, and 2024 is
Right
pretty
around
much
the
here.
corner. Right.
So
That is
that will
correct.
go by in no time.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Wow. All right. So again, let people know what to expect on Saturday if they want to be a part of it. Remind us again, and the numbers to call, any of that information, if they do want to come out on Saturday.
Okay, on Saturday, we're going to be Windsor Lakes, Adelaide Road, opposite Albany.
The eastern
And
entrance to Albany. Yep.
Eastern entrance to Albany, yes, that's correct. And it's going to be from 12 to 4. And we're inviting everybody who's interested in being a part of this community, come down and share with us and see our new lakes that we're putting in place, which are absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
and no obligation, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, if they can't make it Saturday, they can go to the website.
Yes.
They go to the
Yeah,
website, and the website also has our telephone number. Call, arrange to see one of the agents. Sure.
WindsorLakesBahamas.com.
.com.
Yes.
You've got it, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Very
Maison,
exciting.
Bahamas.
With Maison Bahamas. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Dwight.
Great
Thank you.
information. Looks like it's going to be a wonderful development. Suzanne Black, Karen Shepard, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to the listeners for tuning in.
And folks, remember WindsorLakesBahamas.com, the open house, December 2nd. That's Saturday coming,
Saturday
right?
coming.
December is
2
here.
days away.
12 to 4 p.m.
Indeed.
Thank you again.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We're going to be back with the final few minutes of Morning Blend Business after this break right here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Child, Fidelity can on this year with their new festive giveaway. You could win cash, an iPhone 15, get a bill paid off, PS5, all kind of things. Apply for a loan or an ASUS savings account, and you could win. Try our call them now. Yeah? 356-7764.
Celebrate the holidays in style with Nassau Tiles Holiday Sale from November 22nd to 29th. Save up to 25% off select porcelain tiles, up to 30% off ceramic tiles, and 20% off store-wide on all tiles, thin set, grout, and mosaics. Our dedicated tile experts will guide you in choosing the right tile for your floor, wall, indoor, or outdoor space. Visit the Nassau Tile Showroom today at number 43 Doswell Street or call our tile experts at 322-2100 to make your dream space a reality.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, the Joint Provisional Liquidators overseeing the liquidation of FTX Digital Markets, developing a strategy alongside the FTX's U.S. debtors for the sale of 41 properties purchased by FTX in the Bahamas. The JPL saying in their third interim report to the Supreme Court that the JPL's held meetings with the debtors during the last 3 months to develop the sales strategy, and in the interim have continued to discuss options with brokers and take actions to maintain the status quo with respect to the properties. This includes actions to preserve and protect them as relevant by way of insurance renewals, repairs, and liaising with One Cable Beach to place 4 properties into the rental pool to cover ongoing holding costs. The JPL said the 41 properties, which were purchased for $246 million, were acquired in the name of FTX Property Holdings or in the name of individual employees of FTX Digital. Owed largely to the mobile segment, the Cable Bahamas group of companies registering a 6% increase in revenue during its 2023 financial year. That's according to its recently released annual report. Group Chairman Franklin Butler saying the growth was driven by 5% growth in the mobile company's live customer base, along with a 3% increase in average revenue per mobile customer compared to last year. And as the Bahamas moves to strengthen its cybersecurity regime, consideration should be given to regulating cybersecurity measures, particularly along critical infrastructure entities in the country. The argument raised by IRCA and its legal regulatory officer, Rodman Delvo, last week. He said the cost of implementing cybersecurity measures is a deterrence for many companies, and that on their own, licensees of critical infrastructure may not be willing to invest the necessary funding into ensuring that the networks and services are properly secured. He says there's an argument that perhaps there needs to be consideration for regulations to get them to ensure that they are implementing international obligations. You can read more about this in today's Guardian Business section. Overseas, Elon Musk, who's been under fire over accusations of anti-Semitism flourishing on his social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, paying a visit Monday to Israel, where he toured a kibbutz that was attacked last month by Hamas militants and was set to meet with top leaders. The billionaire and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu touring the Kfar Aza kibbutz, a rural village that Hamas militants stormed on October 7th, the deadly assault that launched the war. Musk, wearing a protective vest and escorted by a number of security personnel as rain fell, used his phone to take photos or videos of the devastation. The Tesla CEO and the Prime Minister visited the homes of some victims, including the family of 4-year-old Abigail Eden, with dual Israeli citizenship, Israeli-U.S. citizenship, who was held hostage by Hamas after her parents were killed. She was released Sunday in the latest round of exchanges during a ceasefire in Gaza that is set to expire on Monday. Musk also was due to meet the Israeli president and a former defense minister who's now part of a special war cabinet. A government spokesperson declined to say whether Musk was invited or came on his own. X did not respond to a request for comment. And grain thunders into rail cars and trucks zip around a storage facility in central Ukraine, a place that growing numbers of companies turn to as they struggle to export their food to people facing hunger around the world. Now, more of the grain is getting unloaded from over-cramped silos and heading to ports in the Black Sea, set to traverse a fledgling shipping corridor launched after Russia pulled out of the UN-brokered agreement this summer that allowed food to flow safely from Ukraine during the war. Growing numbers of ships are streaming toward Ukraine's Black Sea ports and heading out with loaded with grain, metals, and other cargo, despite the threat of attack and floating explosives. It's giving a boost to Ukraine's agriculture-dependent economy and bringing back a key source of wheat, corn, barley, sunflower oil, and other affordable food products for parts of Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, where local prices have risen and food insecurity is growing. And Facebook parent Meta Platforms deliberately engineered its social platforms to hook kids and knew but never disclosed that it had received millions of complaints about underage users on Instagram, but only disabled a fraction of those accounts. That's according to a newly unsealed legal complaint described in reports from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. The complaint, originally made public in redacted form, was the opening salvo in a lawsuit filed in late October by the attorneys general of 33 U.S. states. Company documents cited in the complaint describe several Meta officials acknowledging the company designed its products to exploit shortcomings in youthful psychology, such as impulsive behavior, susceptibility to peer pressure, and the underestimation of risks. Others acknowledged Facebook and Instagram also were popular with children under age 13 who, per company policy, were not allowed to use the service. Meta saying in a statement to the Associated Press that the complaint misrepresents its work over the past decade to make the online experience safe for teens, noting it has over 30 tools to support them and their parents. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Friday, your market movers, Bank of the Bahamas moving 1,100 shares, closing down 23 cents to 4.77. Commonwealth Bank moving 1,000, down 2 cents to 5.44. Consolidated Water up 6 cents, closing at 7.22. Emira Incorporated up 5 cents, closing at 8.67. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,911.42, down 0.14. Recapping the week, the local market ended the week with All right, we're having trouble pulling that up, but that is your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. Tune in tonight for CFAL Talks right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 at 6:30 p.m. And it's our final few minutes of Morning Gun Business on this Monday morning. And you can give us a call on our final few minutes here, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay. Yeah, all right, so we're getting a lot of your messages here from our previous segment. Previous two segments, somebody's asking again for the name of the development. Windsor Lakes, and the website WindsorLakesBahamas.com, WindsorLakesBahamas.com. And for the segment before that with Christopher Davis, John Qua II, someone says, this is what, in response to the question I was asking, why we are so in love with the system we have when we can see clearly that it is not working, that there's too much power in the hands of the one leader, and who gets to decide when anything happens or when anything doesn't happen, right? So somebody's saying, well, Dwight, I guess you got your answer. With the guest, it's because our leaders are stuck in a colonial mindset, totally beholden to their white masters' indoctrination. Wow. Okay. But we have to take some responsibility, though, right? Because we're putting those leaders there. And many of them aren't new. They've been around, and we see what they're into. So it's us. It's us. No? All right. This person says here, refreshing to hear the true story of John Canoe. Okay, yeah. And John Canoe, you mean? Yes, absolutely. Again, he is at Clifton Heritage Park now. So you can go there and get more information there. And the book, Black Rinse, he released it earlier this year. He was here to talk about it, and you got to pick it up and read more about it as well. Yeah. Yes, Black Rinse. And he told you can get it at the forts, you can get it at Clifton Heritage. And I think he said Dungalik Studios as well. Yes. Is this information published that you talked about in his book? Yeah, you got a lot of great information in there. And as he said, more is coming. So I think we got more people saying that we need to have him on more often. Yes. This one says here, you need more people like him and Dr. Ian Strachan and others as occasional or special show co-hosts. They can bring engaging perspectives. That's a good idea. We'll see if their schedules will allow. And, oh boy, I'll send that message to him. Okay, I think we better leave it there. Some of these are getting out there. But anyway, folks, thank you very much for participating today and calling in and texting and listening. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.